20th of May in Sabah State. My name is Lisha Isabel Miriam binti Muhammad Noor. I am a hotel management student from University Technology Mara, and excited because this is the first international collaborative partnership that has been organized by the English Language Club, Academy of Language Studies, and Unit Co-Curriculum of University Technology, Mara Cawangan Pulau Pinang, Malaysia. Also, this program is held in collaboration with Universitas Muhammadiyah Pontianak in Indonesia and Mindanao State University in Ligan Institute of Technology in Philippines. Based on our Memorandum of Understanding MOU the two universities in Malaysia. In addition, we are also joined by students from other respectable universities, which are Xavier University, Antonio de Cagayan in Philippines, Multimedia University Malaysia, and University of Malaya Malaysia. With the theme Academia Stories, this program aims to encourage knowledge sharing among university students from our partner universities as well as other institutions regarding various university cultures such as student exchange, emotional well-being, and leadership qualities and others. At the same time, we have also invited renowned speakers from various organizations to share their point of view on certain issues of this event are to build partnership and cooperation between students and educators to improve students' self-confidence in public speaking and contribute to the international activities of University Technology Mara Cawangan Pulau Pinang, Malaysia with our current and future international MOU partners through these webinars. We will be having two sessions. The first will be a webinar talk entitled Balancing Academic Life.
Assalamualaikum and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the International Youth Engagement Talk series organized in English Language University Technology Mara Cawangan Pulau Pinang, Malaysia. I am Ikhwan Nurdin for this session. Miss Sarah Yap Kim Wen, who was a former Malaysian Taekwondo Pumse athlete. She represented Malaysia at the 2018 Asian Games and she claimed a bronze medal in the women's individual Pumse event. This also became the first medal to be earned by Malaysia during the 2018 Asian Games. The for Malaysia since the 2002 Asian Games. Apart from about sports, she is also involved in youth and character development activities. Tonight, we are going to engage with Miss Sarah Yap on balancing life. We know you have been doing taekwondo since you were 7 years old, right?
Mm-hmm.
So how can you strike a balance between academics and personal life? Maybe you can tell us.
Yeah, so a lot of people have been asking me how I generally balance academic and life together because when it comes it becomes a full-time job. So in a sense, you're actually working during your degree, which is what I did. And I started off in the national team very late. And we got into the national team when I was 18. I'm 18, so 18 is the age where we go to so and it was it was very hard. I had academics, thankfully, to kind of like be a complement to my career, which was psychology. Or back to work really hard, and how I balanced that was obviously I was very fortunate to have helped university to be very flexible with my studies. So whenever I was required to go for competition, they allowed me to go. I asked them to willingly, and they understood my situation in my sporting career just because they were very flexible. Um, and yeah, because my entire uni life comprised of the uprising of my career, and also to balance academics, it was very, very packed. So obviously, I mean, if you look at academic and life balance, academic can be one thing, but then there is life balance. It is not two things, it's actually academic plus several things. So obviously, I had to sacrifice a few other important things that I felt I couldn't handle. Some things, unfortunately, I had to sacrifice family time, uni life, and all of life. Very academic. They want to prioritize that first, then obviously, sure, go ahead, prioritize your academics. But for people like me, I prioritized my sports, my career first. So in that sense, it will always to reflect and possibly sitting down, you can see things, and then you see it as sort of and to with for yourself. So that's what I did when it comes to my academic studies and also my career. And that's what I still continue to do actually, just so that I get my life sorted out.
So our first question for us to discuss is, as a university student, when you hear the phrase mental health, what a few words that comes to your mind?
Start to elaborate first.
Yeah, you can start first.
When it comes to about what is our mental state or mindset of how we are going to face our life in university, our school life, or whatsoever. Because when it comes to mental health, it's very important for us as a student needs to have some intention for us to keep consistently maintaining a good mental health, because a lot of reality in a university life, school life can brings us to something challenging, but it is our duty and it how to say journey for us to explore how we our mental health surviving life in university. university, our maybe Miss Erica.
Yes, thank you so much, Mr. Faris. I completely agree with you. I guess for me, the things that come into my mind whenever I hear the phrase mental health, first that's one of the we have, especially for students who are going through a difficult time balancing their academics and other areas of their lives, and also breakdowns. And in fact, I also had couple of breakdowns the past month because of dealing with thesis, since I am a graduating student here at our college. So to mind, and lastly counseling, which is something that we really need whenever we encounter mental health issues due to our academics.
Okay, so I mean, in my situation, there's like huge layers to this, right? To the point where suicide cases and self harm, it is something that I don't think would be what you call like you heard of quite often, like in your respective uni. It's something that they will kept secret about. So I'm not really sure about that. Okay, but I especially in my uni and all that, there are a lot of people. I don't know, probably because the fact that because we're drifting from the endemic to from the pandemic season, right? So so there are people who deals with a lot of family problems or trauma, even financial problem. That sounding financial problem. What does that have to do with mental health? Sometimes, again, mental health, having a health, talk to have healthy mindset, affecting the way you think, the way you feel, and all that. So all those stuff like financial problem, family problem, trauma, or whatever problem that you might have, academic problem, and all that, it somewhat affected them on how they reacted towards something. And one of like I feel like surging trend and when you have these problems is that you would run on the social media, right? So the social media is one of the I feel like a lot of us can agree, I think, hopefully, that you can start to see and judge your friends, especially those that you've known for like she's alright on here, we must do something. So personally, and I know it's a bit I've done that before on my social. You know those things that when you're a bit upset and you're not in a good mood, somewhat you like change your profile picture. I'm not a person who ran on social media, but I would like quietly like do like change my profile picture to like dark background or something. Sorry if it sounds weird. Uh, but yeah, it's true. It's those pattern in social media platform can nowadays give you the biggest clue towards the current state, the current mental state of the students. That's one thing.
I think one of this in their schools is to have this mentoring program to monitor their students on how they are, not just academically but personally. That will that's not gonna seal a good university award, but it will instill the vision and the mission of the university itself. It will picture out how they want to produce their students. So university wise, that's that's how I pictured out how universities can really help in another way apart from education. So yeah.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the International Youth Engagement Talk Series 2022. As you all know, this event is from the 17th to 20th of May, and today is our second day. My name is Farah Atika Beti Khalil, and I am an hotel management student from UiTM Pulau Pinang.
So, Mr. Daniel, based on
Yes, sir.
your experience as a former student, yeah, I'm really proud to hear as a former student, right? And an education director. Could you please share with us the importance of soft skills in today's world?
So firstly, thank you so much, Farhan, once again, and for the introduction. So I think yes, I did my master's in Oxford. I did a master's in law. I also did my undergraduate locally in Malaysia at the International Islamic University. And those from my undergraduate to my master's, these were very, very much formative years of me becoming the person who I am today, which is a director in one of Malaysia's largest education conglomerates. To answer your question very succinctly, soft skills is very important, and I believe some people don't even call it soft skills anymore. They use the word essential skills, right? Because why is it soft? It's so important and it's so essential, right? And let me just say that there are at least 10 soft skills that exist out there. I'm sure by looking at you, you can probably once our communication, right? Communication soft skill, everyone sort of stops there. But actually, the 10 soft skills, and I'm just going to very quickly share them, is time management, right? Like, I love how we started on time. I love the montages that you shared. They were just wonderful to see. Number 2, communication. Number 3, problem solving. That's also a soft skill. Number 4, adaptability. You must be adaptable. Number 5, teamwork, working with other people. Now, number 6, creativity. So, the art, the videos that you shared, had music in the background, that's creativity. Number 8, interpersonal skills, interaction with people. Number 9, work ethic, your ability to put in effort. Number 8, attention to detail. That means you must have lots of detail. I noticed, Farhan, you spelled your name in full, Ahmad Farhan bin Abdul Aziz Fahmi.
Thank you.
Right? Wonderful name. And number 10, and believe it or not, most people don't know this is a soft skill. So 10 soft skills. I hope you took notes, but I'll be very happy to bring them up from time to time.
Yeah.
Arinah, go ahead.
Yeah. What kind of skills are crucial? Is the question, what kind of skills are crucial for students in their studies? Is that the question?
I think so.
Okay. I hope that's the question, Amzar. I think for when it comes to students, to be fair, I studied pre-pandemic. I didn't go to university now. But I would say having a lot of resilience, I think right now is very important because number one, for you guys, a lot of things have moved online. Not only that, you might also be graduating or working, or even if you're not graduating yet, you want to work and still find work during a time that's not great, right? The economy is still not as great as it was. We're in a conflict globally with Ukraine, and in this, it sounds like a bit of a dystopia because there's food shortages, wages are not as great as well. So I think it can be demotivating. So I think having a lot of resilience would be a good skill to build, especially for students nowadays. Having said that, doesn't mean you lose your focus in terms of what you want to do, because I understand times are now, so you may not be able to go and do jobs that you wanted to, but you just do something because of money, because you need to support your family, which is completely fine. But having that resilience and keeping that focus, I think, is very, very important. When it comes to, at least for students nowadays, and also because that also ties into your studies, right? Studying becomes a lot more challenging. Online, some students in some rural parts of Malaysia still having internet access issues. So it's not great, but that doesn't mean it's right. But I do think I empathize with those who do, and I think having that resilience may help overcome that little bit.
Let's move on to our second which experience. The moderator is Mr. Tiny Achin. The panelists are Ms. Nur Afikah Muhammad Shukri from the Faculty of Chemical Engineering UiTM Cawangan Pulau Pinang, Malaysia, Mr. Aldino Parsi from the Faculty of Economy and Business, Universitas Muhammadiyah Pontianak, Indonesia, Ms. Fernanda Widya Pangestika from the Faculty of Health Science, Universitas Muhammadiyah Pontianak, Indonesia, and Ms. Tricia Serranoso Angus from the School of Education, Xavier University, Ateneo de Cagayan, Philippines.
What about you, Miss Trisha? You want to share any experience?
Yes, good evening, everyone. Again, allow me to introduce myself. I am Tricia S. Angos, and I'm a graduating student from Xavier University, Ateneo de Cagayan, taking up education. And honestly saying, I don't have any experience on student exchange program, but I have a lot of friends that does so. And I have a lot to share on scholarship. Actually, at the moment, I have two scholarship. And it's very hard to achieve actually. And I've applied for it. I think both all of us can really have a fair share of applying for scholarship program as a student to do. And lucky for me, my grades have passed the scholarship program, and I was able to apply for it. So again, I'm also very excited. I'm very honored to be part of this amazing program. Thank you so much. Just that a lot of difficulties will be faced, especially also on mental health. Since actually up, there are a lot of students who are struggling to maintain their scholarship grants because they are having online classes, and a lot of them don't have the capacity, don't have the material to go for online classes, and those are the challenges that they are to face when it comes to maintaining their scholarships. And for me to deal with those difficulties, I think we should go back. We should go to our dream. We should think of our dream. Why did we decide to go to school? Why did we do this? Why did we enter college? It's because we have to achieve this dream. We have to achieve this goal. And I think that motivation that we have will keep us going. Will keep us going despite the circumstance that we have facing in maintaining our scholarship grants or even in student exchange program, because I think it's a very big task being an exchange student. I think all of my co-panelists here would agree it's a very big task. And also you're not just bringing yourself, but you're bringing the entire school with you. So you have a lot of tasks to juggle. And I think, yeah, there are a lot of difficulties, but if you are motivated to pass it, and if you have a dream to really pursue it, I think you can really make it.
Okay, Assalamualaikum and good evening. So welcome everyone who's watching from YouTube Live. Welcome to UiTM Penang, Cawangan Pematang Pau's first youth convention program. So first, let me introduce myself. My name is Alia. I am your MC for today. So before we go on further, I would like to invite Afiq Shazwan to recite our dua.
Okay. Bismillah. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Your speaker. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alamin. Hamdan yuwafi ni'amahu wa yukafi'u mazidah. Ya Rabbana lakal hamdu kama yanbaghi li jalali wajhika wa li wajhikal karimil azimi sultanik. Allahumma salli wa sallim ala sayyidina Muhammadin salatan tunjina biha min jami'il ahwal والآفان وتقضي لنا بها جميع الحاجات وتطهرنا بها من جميع السيئات وترفعها بها عندك أعلى الدرجات وتبلغنا بها أقصى لنا أقصى الغايات من جميع الخيرات في الحياة وبعد الممات وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. ربنا ظلمنا أنفسنا وإن لم تغفر لنا وترحمنا لنكونن من الخاسرين. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار وأدخلنا الجنة مع الأبرار يا عزيز يا غفار يا رب العالمين. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين والحمد لله رب العالمين.
Oh, sorry. Is it here? Oh, I have. Sorry. I'm so sorry. Technical issue tadi. So today, for our program today, we have three very interesting speakers. First, let me briefly introduce them. We have Arinah Najwa, we have Charissa Ong, and Zack Shah. So I hope everyone in the YouTube live will be able to get lots of info, lots of lessons from what we will be talking about later. And for this program, we'll be talking about life after college, about more to help you be more open about the working industry after college and what you should do. And yeah, I hope you will learn a lot of stuff. You'll get a lot of motivation. And without further ado, I would like to invite our moderator, Haikal, to start a talk with our first speaker today.
Thank you. Thank you, Alia, for the lovely introduction. And hold on. Sorry, having a little bit of a cough today. Okay, that was not intended or anything. But anyways, thank you, Alia, for such a lovely introduction into introducing to the Youth Convention Program 2023 conducted by the English Language Club. And honestly, it is such a big honor for us to be hosting this event this year. And we're lucky to have a lot of amazing speakers that's coming today. We have Arinah Najwa, we have Charissa Ong, and we have Zack Shah, right? So these speakers are very experienced speakers. They've gone through a lot of things in life, right? And of course, today we're going to talk about life after college, basically how life is once you finish university. What will it be like? How is the workforce like? Or what type of skills do we need, right? These are the things that we will be discussing today with all the three speakers that we have invited, right? So without further ado, let's first invite Arinah Najwa on the stage.
Hi, good afternoon. Hi, Haikal, and
Hey,
hi,
oh,
everyone.
wow, this is
Thanks for
yeah, I
having
can hear
me.
you. I can hear you.
Yep, Great.
First of all, thank you. You look very nice today. Very nice brick wall, by the way.
Sorry, I had issues with the photo, so this was, I think it's an internet thing.
It's
But
fine. It's
this
fine.
is, so I had to improvise. But
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. But still, I mean, the brick wall looks nice, and you look very, very nice today with your hair.
thank you.
How are you doing so far, Arinah? How are you doing?
Good, good. It's a good Saturday. Weather is nice, so
That's
things are going
nice.
well. Thanks.
Okay, that's great. Hopefully everything's doing well in Selangor and everything.
Yeah, yeah.
So I mean, this is the first time I'm hosting the show with you. So like, it is going to be a very good experience because all these guys I've never done a session with them before. So this is the first time I'm testing the ground. Yeah, but obviously I'm really excited to talk to you today. And we've gotten a few questions for you, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
For us, for you to answer and help, guide the students to become more better quality graduates, right? Now, before we start, into our show today, why don't you give a little introduction about yourself? Who are you? Who is Arinah Najwa?
Sure. So my name is Arinah Najwa. I am currently a director at a public policy firm. It's called Bauer Group Asia. It's based in the US and it has offices all across Asia. So what we do basically is we help MNCs predominantly maneuver the local landscape. So we do things like we help them provide policy inputs, updates on politics because they may not know the landscape locally. So at the same time, we also provide support because if they want to do partnerships with the government or they want to, have any issues within Malaysia, then we help them connect to the right individuals. So that's just my role, but my background is quite diverse. So I studied economics locally at the International Islamic University of Malaysia. Then I did my master's at King's College London. So that was a really great experience. And after university, after my time in IIUM, I entered consulting. So I realized that, I really enjoy consulting. I just don't, I want to do different type of work, like in terms of what I'm consulting on. So that's why I decided to do my master's in development economics because I wanted to give back to my community. I felt I needed to do work that was more impactful. I think that's a very millennial thing to say, or the
It is
younger
very
generation. That
thing.
when you want to do your different types of work, you want to do things that are impactful and meaningful to you. So after that, then I kind of pivoted into the government. So that was when I came back to Malaysia when Pakatan Harapan had already won. And had an opportunity to join the Ministry of Youth and Sports in the Minister's office with YB Said Sadiq. So that really helped me open my eyes to, the public sector and how the public sector works. I really enjoyed my time there because I felt that whatever I was doing was really impactful. But after that, obviously government changed. I lost my job overnight and that's when the pandemic started. So that was a very interesting time because I didn't have a backup. I didn't have anything, to prepare myself with, and it was the pandemic. Things were looking very bleak at that time. So I just took a role that could help me float during that time so that I could do something later on that will help me get back into doing things like public policy and also developmental work. So I worked for a bit in a family office for about a year. And then after that, I transitioned into my current organization right now. I've been here for over a year. So just to kind of show you the theme throughout is I've always felt like I do enjoy consulting, but I felt like I wanted to do something more impactful. So that kind of, led to my foray into public sector or government relations work, public affairs work. So yeah, that's just a very brief, description of my background.
Wow, that is honestly, I know I'm smiling like right now, but like inside my mind, I was like amazed by like the amount of achievements you've done over the
I hope
years.
so. It's amazement, but yeah.
It is, it is amazing. Like, I mean, I was reading your resume because you started out by, I think, as a debate trainer at IIU,
Yeah.
right? And then you went
Yeah.
to the Qatardebate team, and then you went into public servant, under the Ministry
Yeah.
of Youth, and then now
Yeah.
you're in working with public policy. That's a lot to take if I was, doing this.
Yeah, but I think that's also a sign of not really a sign, but I think it's an indication of how life is as well. It's not really linear. So, at every point in time, I wanted to just, I took up the debate coach role in IIUM because I needed extra money. So I felt that, this was a skill that I could, build on, and I was already debating in university. So why not make money out of it? So then, and obviously during that time, you don't really know what life can bring you,
Yeah.
where life can bring you, because I didn't expect to also be working in Qatar as a debate trainer as well. So there was also an opportunity for me to work abroad, which is something that I never thought of. I just did things that I enjoyed, even though it was just, I needed extra income because, I was still a student. My family wasn't really, I was under a scholarship. My family wasn't supporting me at that time. So yeah, so why not earn extra money?
Extra money, yeah. I mean, life in itself is always spontaneous. Life is full
Yes.
of wonders and mysteries. One day you'll just be in, like in Malaysia, and the next day you'll be in Qatar. So like,
Very.
opportunities arises, in many beautiful ways, right?
Yep.
So so thank you for like introducing voice of it. Was a very interesting, very very interesting introduction. Right. So now, for today's show, we have a few questions for Arinah. I think I've given you to you this morning. Right. We have 4 questions that we will be discussing. Right. So I'll
Sure.
just read them all one by one. Right.
Yep.
So how the flow will go. Right. So firstly, based on experience, how valuable are young people in the workforce, and are they given the chance to shine? That's the first question. Second question is, how has the opportunity changed over the years for young people to enter in the workforce, especially those in STEAM? And then the third question is, what should young people be aware of before entering the workforce? And last but not least, what are important skills for young people to be equipped so they're prepared to the workforce? Now let's start with the first question, because you've recently worked with the Ministry of Youth, right? Under the
Yep.
Ministry of Youth, yeah. So like based on your experience, how valuable are young people in the workforce, and do you think that they're given the chance to shine?
Yeah. So I think the first part, which is in terms of how valuable they are, of course, they are. I think when it comes to the workforce, you want diverse opinions and you want also newer ideas, because as you can tell, society is changing very fast. Technology also changes very fast. So these are the things that younger people or the younger generation are more likely to be tuned to, because they keep up with these things, right? Not to say that older generation don't, but it's more of the younger generation have grown up with technology already, in comparison to during my time, where I had technology, but it was still nascent at that time. So we still had dial-ups. So we were the in-between generation in comparison to now, where the younger generation, even right, when they're toddlers, they're already engaging with technology. So it's very, very different. So the second part, yeah, just for context, I just had some slides here just to build some context, but we can discuss them later on. Yeah, so with the second part, and are they given a chance to shine? So this actually depends on where you are. So I think in terms of the private sector, or if you're talking about, you know, MNCs, or even in startups, I think there's a better chance for the youth to shine because they actively promote things like talent. They don't really look at age. They don't really look at hierarchy per se. So it's a lot more merit based, supposedly. But in comparison to other structures that may be more hierarchical. So I think within government, within public sector, GLCs, government-linked companies, they tend to be a lot more hierarchical, and you have to have sort of fulfilled a certain number of years before you're able to move up. So I think in the government that happens a lot. So which means that doesn't mean you don't have an opportunity to shine. How it just means that you have to probably work a lot harder, to kind of show that you are, you know, you are, talented and all of these things. So maybe I can just share an anecdote. During our time in the Ministry of Youth and Sports, the minister's office average age was very young.
Oh yes, definitely, yeah.
Right? Sadiq was what, 25, 26 at the time. I was 29. So, and if you're looking at, higher ups, like, the Secretary General of the ministry, she is double the minister's age. So
Wow.
there's always that gap, right? And especially when it comes to younger people shining, there's always that adjustment of being able to be a boss to people who are older than you, these kinds of things. So that is an interesting dynamic that you would have to kind of manage. But for you to be able to shine, you would have to, I mean, there is that opportunity, but it comes with challenges. So yeah, I hope that answered some of the questions. I think it's I think, yeah, like I said, it depends on where you are. I think in the private sector, or in startup scene, it's much easier in comparison to organizations that have hierarchy.
I see, I see. So I mean, you were young before, right? I know you used to be young, right? I
I'm
mean,
not that old, but no, but yeah,
I mean, okay, you're not that
yeah,
old,
yeah,
like
no, but I get what you mean. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
But like once you finish graduation, after
Yeah.
university, like was it easy for you to shine, given that you were very young, and were people doubting you in any chance?
Yes and no. Because when I first started out, I felt like, I mean, there's in like on a personal level. I think there were times I held myself back from shining because, or
Mm-hmm.
showing what I could do, because I was in a new organization. I entered into consulting, so there were a lot of other people who were high achievers, and it was a very competitive environment. So I
Mm-hmm.
was also making sure that I do things properly, and I make sure that I also become high achieving, but in an environment where it's very competitive and everyone is an overachiever, that can be quite tough. So
Mm-hmm.
at that point, I think I also doubted myself. Do I belong here? Do I, am I really as competitive? So at one part, which then, that's the personal side, but then you had other people, like I had bosses who, like I said, preferred hierarchy. So you had your bosses, or your supervisors, who were more like, listen to me, don't give new, just follow what I
Mm-hmm.
tell you. In comparison to some other bosses, which I learned a lot from, who were like, okay, thanks for your feedback. Like, what do you think? So they incorporated me into the
Oh.
discussion. So that helped also boost my self-esteem, and also build my confidence to allow me to shine. So,
Mm-hmm.
but like I said, I was in an environment where it's very competitive, which means they encourage you to shine. They want you to show, that you
The
are
best of
talented,
you.
the
Mm-hmm.
best that I could, correct. But because, again, because of personal reasons, I felt like I wasn't, I was questioning myself. So I think that it's two parts, right? It's not just, whether or not I can shine. Is the environment around me conducive for me to go and show myself? It's also yourself. Like, do you feel like you are, or how much self-doubt do you have, as an individual, and do you question yourself? I think that needs to be managed first as well. Yeah.
I see, I see. So like, when did you start to realize that I think I'm aligned to this field of work?
I think towards in my first role, I realized, so when I first entered the workforce, of course it was a bit of a culture shock, and especially when it comes to consulting, they just throw you into the deep end.
Yeah, yeah. They throw you
You're
in different
supposed to
places.
figure
Yeah.
out things, yeah, yourself, and I think much like a lot of other careers, right? Like, and they throw you into the deep end. You're expected to learn on the job. But I felt that I learned a lot more when I had a very supportive supervisor, or super supportive boss, who kind of talked me through things, explained why certain decisions were made, and also made me feel seen. So that whatever input I gave to the projects, or whatever, she would tell me, oh, that's a great idea, or like, okay, I hear you, but maybe let's try and do it this way. So that helped me build my confidence, and then towards the end, I realized, actually, I'm okay. Like, I shouldn't be too hard on myself, because I'm still learning in this organization. But of course, you yourself have to also take the initiative to learn wherever you feel that you need to back up on. So let's say, okay,
Mm-hmm.
you're in a company, and then your boss says, actually, you need to improve your networking skills, right? So maybe that's feedback that you need to,
Ah,
like, okay, so what do you mean by that? So you have that conversation, and then you also take the initiative to kind of improve wherever that feedback comes from. Yeah.
Okay, okay. I think we'll touch on networking skills at the very end, because I think that's a very important skill that I've learned as well. I wouldn't have networked, because if it wasn't for networking, I wouldn't have met you lah.
Also true. Yeah.
Right. So now you are an economic student, or you are
Yeah.
an economic graduate, right? So I
Yeah.
assume that those who are in the social sciences, or in businesses, or like the perception here is that they easily tend to get jobs, right? But however, when it comes to stream students, there's always this complaint like every year, like, I assume if after I graduated engineering, I'm not becoming an engineer, and there's not many jobs for stream, and all, and etc., all that stuff, right? Because Malaysia do have a lot of engineers, very good engineers, or
Yeah.
very good those who are in the sciences, but they never get the chance to fulfill the dream in working in our country. So like, do you think the opportunity has changed, like even like post pandemic? Has everything changed over the years for young people to enter into stream workforces?
Right. I think maybe this is a good time to go to the slides because I
All
have
right.
points highlighted there. So maybe if you go, if someone can just shift to the next slide. Yep, it's okay. We can move on to the next one. Okay, this is just to show you what an overview is and just to also show you the kind of power that young people have. So according to the UN's 2020 World Youth Report, we have about 1.2 billion young people aged 15 to 24. That's a huge number. They make up 16% of the global population. If we're zooming down into Malaysia a little bit, we make up those 18 to 39, we make up about more than 50%. So we make up more than half the population. However, when it comes to youth unemployment between 15 to 30, it's 7.4, and that's like almost double of the national average. So youth unemployment is high. So going back to your point, in terms of certain skill sets, you still see the difficulty of young people and in certain sectors to get jobs. At the bottom, you can see that there's a bit of notes because the UN defines youth as 15 to 24, when Malaysia we define it as 15 to 30. So if you can go to the next slide. Yep, next. Yeah, so this is kind of overlapping with what you talked about. So in Malaysia, we have issues of high unemployment, especially among the youth. And if you can see the second bullet point, wages have been a big thing. So local wages are being too low for Malaysians. The youth are more attracted to jobs in other countries, especially Singapore, where the salaries are higher owing to the exchange rate advantage. So in Malaysia, especially for jobs like engineering or even science jobs, or even doctors, the wages are not moving up. The wages are stagnating. So that's a huge problem when it comes to the younger workforce because they're not able to negotiate or have a strong bargaining power. When it comes to getting their jobs, especially now, if you look at the third bullet, because of that, a lot of people now are moving towards the gig economy. Why would I rather be an engineer when I can do gig work, when I can freelance, when I can be a social media influencer? And I think that's also an issue here because number one, the wages are not reflecting that. Another thing that's also an issue is that the general, makeup of our workforce doesn't really appreciate talents like you or even within when it comes to stream students. So we don't demand better or different types of engineers. We don't demand scientists. So when you have specialized knowledge like this, that's why a lot of them actually go abroad, and they don't stay in Malaysia. So we are also having a bigger problem of not adding value into our workforce because right now we're just still stuck to relying on low wage workers, things like manufacturing. Even as a country, we don't move up the value chain. We're still producing, things at the factories, not really like, for example, upgrading our technology for R&D, for example. That's where you make a lot of money. That's where companies like Apple, right? They outsource the manufacturing parts to China, but where you really make the money in is the technology that is in the afterwards. So that's something that we need to kind of build in. So there are a few factors, but it is definitely, I think, a lot more challenging to get the kind of jobs that you want, especially in this field, because I think, based on my reading and some of my discussions with people, the wages are just not there. So I think that's a huge factor.
I see. Now, would you
Correct.
think like so I did read a few things about this particular topic for stream students as well, right? So like another fact that I like to add on is that
Yeah.
there's not much technopreneurship happening in Malaysia. We're a country that does not, I don't know, focuses on technopreneurship a lot. But like, do you think if we add in more technopreneur, like adding more businessmen who are into tech, right? Do you think it would at least help the situation for these engineers or these who are very skilled engineers or skilled scientists get a job at least?
You mean get more businessmen into science? Is that what
Uh,
you
yeah,
or
technically, yeah.
I'm not sure actually, because if you look at different organizations, I think it really depends on the skill set. For example, like, okay, we can take Twitter, for example, right? Elon Musk is more of a businessman and he just decided that he would run a social media company with very minimal knowledge. And now Twitter is not as if profitable as it was before. A lot of people are leaving, so I think we have to be careful on when we're just bringing in people from the outside to go and run the organization. I think one, for the country, we need to define what exactly are the different sectors that are important to us. So is it agriculture ke? Is it going to be tech? Is it going to be manufacturing? Is it still going to be oil and gas? So then we need to develop the skills to go and ensure that these are the sectors that we want to push people into. So I agree with you in terms of, technopreneurship. I think here also in Malaysia, I'm not sure whether we are also encouraging that kind of environment, because again, it also depends on your environment. If you go to different countries, I mean, for example, if you go Silicon Valley, right, I'm sure the environment there is very much robust because you meet people who are also
Yeah.
entrepreneurs. You meet
Entrepreneur,
people,
yeah.
but macam here, it's not the same. You always meet the same group of people. You have to go abroad. So what are we doing to create that talent or create a conducive environment for that? That's why you see a lot more people leaving, and because we don't appreciate that. I mean, everyone knows the story of Grab, how it started here, but it moved to Singapore because they weren't able to get funding for their startup at the time. So we don't recognize, like what kind of technology could be potentially great. So I think there needs to be a bit more effort as well, um,
Yeah.
for the country to put in money into these areas. Yeah.
Yeah, it is kind of feels a bit sad because we always, like, for me, if I'm a science stream student, right? So we've always been pushed to, like, oh, you should be, you guys are gonna be the future engineers. You're gonna be, working with new technologies. But then in
Yeah.
the end, it just ends up we don't have the willpower to continue working here, in Malaysia, based on experiences and other people
Right.
experiences as well. Yeah, but I definitely think that for those listening right now, be a technopreneur.
Why?
Because
Why do you suggest becoming a technopreneur?
I
A
think
tech.
at the end, I think like you said, I think we need to start somewhere, right? In terms of building an environment where we appreciate technology, where we appreciate the usage of it, right? Because, like,
Yeah.
You said Silicon Valley is a place where people meet up and network for tech. But in Malaysia, you cannot think of a place where you can, like, talk about tech, right? Everybody, it's a junk pile of different things, all
Yeah.
in one
Well,
thing.
Cyberjaya was supposed to be there, but
Oh
it
yeah,
didn't.
actually, what happened to
It didn't take
Cyberjaya
off.
anyway? Yeah, what happened to Cyberjaya?
It just kind of didn't take off. And I think when it comes to things like the initiatives like the multimedia super corridor, the MSc status, that's where you wanted to bring in also tech companies, that also has been changed, so to Malaysia digital status. So I think policy and how policy approaches things like tech and different sectors plays a huge role, because for companies that want to set up shop here, they look at what are the kind of incentives that I can get when I come here. Do I get tax rebates? Do I get and also do I get a strong pool of talents? So I've spoken to some companies, I think particularly in the electrical and electronic sector. They said they like Malaysia because the cost of operating is low, and our talent, i.e. our young people, are smart and capable, and also they can speak English. So it's very easy to train. It's just that they don't have the environment or the business environment that's conducive enough for them to come in. So things like, I not set up my business here, but it takes way too long for my documents to be processed. Or the
Oh,
government
the bureaucracy there, yeah.
or the government keeps changing, and which means
Yeah.
policies keep changing. So that affects, whether or not businesses want to stay here and invest into, building another Silicon Valley. So that's why, it's for young people, push your government, make your voice heard, share on social media, write out whatever postings, because, and contribute in discussions. So, because these are the things that we need to we need to share. If we can go to the next slide, I mean, just looking about future, what kind of future jobs, like you said, go into tech. So I think we also have to understand, I think the formatting is, the color is not great. Yeah, so we have to understand what are the trends, especially in the employment sector. So if you look at the top left, 50% of all employees will need reskilling by 2025. So this also goes to your point about how you need to embrace technology, because those who are in the older generation or who were not exposed to technology will need to pick this up because it's going to be a norm, right? And if you look to your right, it says critical thinking. Hold on.
Critical thinking and problem solving skills.
Yeah, critical thinking, problem solving skills will grow in prominence in the next 5 years. So it's not just your hard skills, things like can I use tech, can I code, can I also use different kinds of softwares. It's also about the soft skills in terms of can I provide value added solutions to whatever problems that we exist, because problems are going to become more complex, right? I mean,
Definitely.
we look at external factors, we look at Ukraine and Russia having a conflict, and tengok because it's so far, people might not even realize that it affects us here in Malaysia because
Oh
it
yes,
affects
it affects a lot. Yeah.
correct, but some people might not know that. So then how do we then think about the different types of ways of how we can resolve it? So if we're looking at the bottom left, self-management skills, such as active learning, resilience, managing stress. These are the kinds of skills that suddenly cropped up a lot more in 2020 because of the pandemic. And a lot of people had to work from home. So as you can see, even new trends are coming in. So it's no longer just, okay, yes, let's go into consulting, let's go into tech. These are also very high stress environments and volatile environments. So now if you see in 2023, even towards end of last year, a lot of tech companies are laying off people. So Meta has laid off people, HP has laid off, I think, 6,000 people. So because it's a very volatile sector. So then you have to think about, okay, I mean, it's just a factor for you to think about. And it's like, okay, is this a risk that I'm willing to take moving forward? And of course, if I enter such a volatile market, I need to learn how to manage my stress. I need to learn how to be resilient. Like, for example, when I lost my job overnight, I had to learn how to be resilient because I didn't know, I had to manage my anxiety. I had to manage my stress because, I'm the eldest child. My parents are retired, so
Oh.
how can I, make sure that I get some income so to support my family? And pandemic at that time, no one knew what was going to happen, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So that's that. And then if you see the bottom right, I think here it says, reskilling
Self-management.
needs to,
Yeah.
yeah, and reskilling needs to happen, every 6 months or less,
Oh
so
wow.
because things keep changing all the time.
No,
So
no.
now we have, at one point we had, everyone was jumping on trends like Web3. Now it's going on towards, more AI, machine learning. Everyone's jumping on chat, GPT. So, so things are always changing every year. All this data you can find at the World Economic Forum Future Jobs Report. So I think, understanding the trends and not just jumping into things that you feel are, the hype at that time is also very important. I mean, it's also a similar comparison could be made with cryptocurrency. I think it was very popular
Oh,
at
it
one.
was yes, yeah, 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 yeah.
Everyone was jumping on it, and then suddenly it crashed, like over the pandemic as well. So I mean, it's still doing well, but not as well as it did before. So be careful. So I think really look into the industries that you're interested in. How is the projection looking like? Or what's the trend looking like for those industries? And does it align with what you want to do? So I think that's very important. So yeah. Sorry, that was a bit long-winded, but yeah.
Oh
So
no, no,
that's
it's not bad. That was a very insightful, answer coming from you. And I just want to add on, like modern problems require modern solutions, right?
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So read up, look at the different sectors, look at what not just look at what's happening right now, what you think might be a problem later on. So things like climate change and climate
Oh
change
yes,
issues.
definitely.
So that can be something. It's still relatively new, so you can still explore. Okay, maybe I need to, look into more renewable energy tech because for stream students, especially, maybe shift your skill sets towards more catered into that area. That could be a possibility as well.
Yeah, definitely. Because um, I think the pandemic and I think like the past few years we have seen so many like very big problems that happened, right? For example, like climate change, and even like the floods in Malaysia that's happening, like even on the international scale, Russia and Ukraine that affected a lot of countries, right? Who are having ties with Russia and Ukraine, and nobody likes war. So hopefully, there is some diplomatic solutions, coming on the international stage and from the United Nations to solve the problem. I'm not sure if it's gonna end, but like hopefully it does.
Yep, yep, very true, very true. So that's
Yep.
another thing that you have to consider as well. So, and that
Oh
will
yeah,
definitely
yeah.
impact job
Eh,
markets. That will impact,
mhm.
currency. It will impact, cost of living. So
Mhm.
it's a lot of things.
There's a lot of things to put in. No, no. Now when you mention about international relations, now I realize how important it is for diplomats to really do their jobs.
Very, very true. Yep.
Very,
So very
yeah,
true.
yeah.
So, yeah. So I think these are the things that, and again, going back to things like critical thinking and, figuring out, more creative problem solving, like what are the ways that we can figure out, for our country like Malaysia to get more investments, even though we don't have a lot of money as well to go and spend, like pre-pandemic.
Yeah.
So,
No, no, no. Before we move on to the next question,
yeah.
I have a question that I think uh that is quite interesting that has been pondering on my mind lately. So
Mm-hmm.
last year I went to San Luis University Asli Education Summit, right? So we were
Right.
talking about we were talking about the state of education in Malaysia from 2013 until to 2025, right? So right, Malaysia has, just for the viewers, we have an education plan, right, from 2013 to 2025, and it's about to end, right? So I was looking at the progress. It wasn't that much, but do you think that there is still need some reformation in education to ensure that our students are able to compete in a high pressure market?
Yep, I totally agree. I think, okay, if we can go back with the slide, if we go back to the previous slide, I think on the challenges, um, if you can see the bottom bullet point. So, you know, we can see there's a growing tendency for young Malaysians, 72% of them, to enter the workforce directly after SPM. Because they don't see the value of furthering their studies. So I think there is definitely a problem in terms of our education system, in terms of what the kinds of studies courses that we are providing to them. What's the standard of our universities, and are they keeping up with international standards? But at the same time, having said that, we also are in a an environment that also doesn't prioritize degrees as much. You can get jobs with certifications. I think if you're looking at the tech sector, if you know how to code and you can code well, and you have good interpersonal skills, and you have good being able to engage with your colleagues, then you don't need to have a degree per se to go and get a job. So there's two parts to this, right? So I'm not saying having a degree is good, or not having a degree is also good or bad. That's not what I'm saying at all. But I do think that in terms of how we approach education, Malaysia needs to improve it a little more. So where we encourage, like I said, incorporating the trends, right? So incorporating things like, are we encouraging things like critical thinking into the curriculum? What are the kinds of teachers also that we are bringing in, and are they equipped? So I think I don't know, I can't speak for all, but I feel in Malaysia, the idea of being a teacher is not seen as sexy. It's not seen as very not in trend. But
Noble.
yeah, but it is a noble job, but it is
It
also
is a
a very
very noble. It is. It is.
it is, and it needs to be also paid well, right? So I think there needs to be that part where, are we bringing in the right talent who are going to be educating our students? So it's both parts. So it's also on the teacher side, and then also on the curriculum side and the content, so that we do ensure that we are not just I think in Malaysia, very much grade driven. We just want to get the grade, and then so that we can go and apply for universities, but we're
Mhm.
actually learning something from that. So I think that's um, definitely something that we can improve on.
Definitely, definitely. Okay, I think let's move on to the next question. Like,
Yeah.
what are the things that young people should be aware of before entering the workforce? Because for me, like when we think of like the desired jobs we want to enter, it sounds luxurious, like being an engineer. Oh, I'm gonna fix stuff, I'm gonna create some stuff. Or we enter medicine, I'm gonna help people, save some lives, right? But like, what is the reality really just working itself?
I think it can be, again, it really depends on what kind of sectors you're in. So
Mhm.
what is really important, I think a good step, which I felt like should have done a lot more, is to talk to people who are from that sector. So to talk
Mhm.
to people who are, let's say if you're engineers, and you want to be, your background is civil engineering, maybe you want to talk to someone whose career that you aspire to, aspire to emulate, and you like that kind of job, talk to that person, because you won't get a full picture unless you actually talk to that person, and they will tell you the day-to-day issues. They will tell you things like what people won't tell you, so things like internal politics within companies, how to get promoted, right, or how to build your skills within companies. So I think talk to that person, right, so that you have a better idea of that role. The second thing is also for you to understand what is important for yourself, and it's okay to be honest. So because there are some times where you think you want your dream job, but then it's difficult to get because of whatever reason, and you maybe need money at that time. So it's okay to be honest, to be like, okay, is this job for money, or is this job for passion, or is it something I'm interested in? So just be honest with yourself, but then have a plan to be like, okay, maybe I need to revisit this in 2 years, so that I need to go and find another job that fits better with me. So that's one. Another thing is, when it comes to asking questions to yourself, also ask, things like very personal questions like, okay, do I want, work-life balance, right? Do I mind if I work at different hours? So in my role, because I'm an international organization, I have calls with the US. So my malam, I'm on calls. During the day also, I'm on calls. So I don't have that
Flexible.
flexibility. Yeah,
Mhm.
so I mean, I don't have that balance lah, but I do have some flexibility in terms of like, okay, can I take time off? And also ask yourself things like, do I want a family? Do I want to, have, so what kind of company will be able to support me
Mhm.
within my goals? So if let's say you want to set up a family, then you ask certain questions like paternity leave, maternity leave. So ask yourself these things. So the third thing that I would like to point out is always negotiate. So I know, because people who may enter into the workforce, they're scared. They feel that, whatever offer comes first, I'll take it, because I don't know if I'll get another offer. No, it's okay. So negotiate for better benefits, things like insurance, EPF, SOCSO. These are all very important. Negotiate for a higher salary if you feel you deserve it, and if it's, what's happening, or what your peers are getting. Talk to people, so get information on your salary, ask people about, what they're earning. I know some people might be shy, but you can find, this information online, so on things like Glassdoor,
Mhm.
Indeed. So get that information, and don't be scared to negotiate. So I think that's, some people, yeah, maybe shy, but before entering the workforce, just negotiate. It's okay.
True. I think negotiation skills are very important, especially in university.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. I
So
mean,
at
if you want
this
to get some, yeah. I mean, you want to get extend some like I wouldn't say always extend lah, but like try to get some time to finish your work and everything.
No, exactly. Yeah. And I think what people don't tell you also when it comes to entering the workforce, that sometimes you working hard or being the most skilled is not necessarily appreciated. You have to be visible. So I know it doesn't sound nice, but you really have to go and show your skills. So let's say you completed a project, you kena cakap. You have to say, hi boss, just sharing with you, I completed the X project, at this time, so that your supervisors are visible to what you're doing. So I would recommend, I know it's a lot of work for some people, to track everything that you do. Okay, for the month of January, these are my deliverables, these are my achievements. For February, this is what I did. So later on, when you're having your appraisals or your year-end reviews, you have it all tracked already, and then you can show, this is what I contribute to the company. in comparison to if you didn't do that and you're just recalling from memory, and of course our lives are very busy, things happen, so we may not remember. At least now you always have to show. So I think that's the thing that a lot of people are very upset sometimes, because they're like, no, I'm the smartest, I'm the most whatever, but I don't get the promotion, or but I don't get the salary increment. But you need to
Yeah, you have to show that you are doing it.
show that, correct?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
visibility and exposure is important.
Definitely, definitely. Now, I think this moves on to the last questions, moves on very nicely, right, which is what skills are important for young people to be equipped, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, so one of the skills that we just mentioned was networking just earlier and then now it's negotiating, and now it's being visible. But I don't know, do you have any other skills you want to add? Maybe just general skills, just to make sure that we're more employable.
Yeah, I think so I already mentioned those few things. I think another underestimated skill that people sometimes overlook is being able to present or being able to speak. And this is not saying like you have to speak English, you have to speak Malay, that's not what I'm saying, but being able to communicate yourself clearly and confidently. I think that's something that some people underestimate. So because especially when you're doing a presentation to your boss or your presentation to your clients or whatever, right? I think that's something that is sometimes underestimated. And when you enter into the workforce, you will realize that sometimes some conflicts or issues can be resolved if you communicate clearly. So
Yes.
think writing very clearly in emails, writing very clearly in your reports. So clear communication, I think, is very underestimated, because some people assume I can do it, I can talk. No. So it's always like, for example, if I'm writing an email, let's say I had a team meeting. Okay, Arinah and Haikal had a team meeting. So we discussed a lot of things. But then after the meeting, we didn't do a recap, or we didn't write an email. So we assume that everyone knows what to do, and we know they remember what their takeaways were. In comparison, if you wrote an email, okay, so we met at this time, these were our discussion points, these are the next steps, so here are the deadlines. So communicate very, very clearly. So you'll be surprised at how many miscommunications and issues can be resolved if people communicate properly.
Yes, definitely. And another thing that I also like to add on is like, don't ever make assumptions.
Correct.
Yes, because
Very
like
true. So,
yes, because if you make an assumption, you'll think of the worst case scenario at most, right?
yeah.
You think of what's the good case, right? What the best case scenario. So like another thing that like I also want to like share as well is like, if you are working, don't assume things. Always ask, right?
Correct.
Get
Yep.
get the confirmation. So yeah, but that is something I also want to highlight as well. But
Okay.
another thing. Actually, I want to tell a story about how I met Daniel.
Okay.
Because this is implying on networking, right? Yeah, because I think like before I share that story, but like uh how valuable is networking in today's world? Like, do you think could it help somebody get a job?
For sure. Like, I mean, I got my job. I've gotten jobs because of networking. Because of
Ah.
people knew what I can do, and they knew like my skill set. And then when someone asked, "Hey, actually, I'm looking for, this kind of person. Can you recommend anyone?" Oh yeah, I know Haikal. So
Mhm.
so then they would recommend. But I think networking, a lot of people feel is very scary because they don't know how to network. I think just you can just start with very small things like going to events that you're interested in, things like your alumni events, like UiTM punya English Language Club alumni
Mhm.
or whatever. So go to those things. Also sign up for associations like within your field. So for
Mhm.
me, because I do public affairs or government relations, then I signed up for those kind of communities. And I would recommend, don't be so transactional. I think some people, when they network, they go to, let's say, a big event and there's a lot of very popular people. Don't just go and be like, hey, so actually I wanted to talk to you about this job. Can we like have a chat? I think be a bit more tactical. So
Mhm.
things like, hi, get talk to them, get to know their interests, and then you can then after that be like, oh, okay, so actually, I'm looking for. I saw this opportunity at your company. I would love to have a coffee with you to talk about. Um, how I can apply or if my skills fit. So yeah, so I think it's always good to ask, but be tactical about it.
Yes, definitely. Actually, no, that's actually a good thing. Now I'm gonna talk about how I met Daniel.
Okay.
So because okay, if you guys don't know who Daniel, what we're talking about, Daniel Rahman is Arinah's good friend, right? He has previously appeared on the English Language Club talk show, I think last semester. You were also there as a guest, as a featured speaker, right? So like the thing about how I met Daniel is like I met him online, like through Instagram, because I think
Right.
I met him like in 2016, like during a debate competition. Sorry, a
Oh,
debate workshop at IIU. So I didn't know it was him at the time, but then I think fast forward and I saw Syed Sadiq's post, and then it's Syed Sadiq's debate teacher, and I was
yeah.
like cool, and I was like I went to the post and I not requested that to be his friend on Instagram. Yeah. And then from
Nice.
then, yeah, actually the thing is, I was surprised that he actually accepted me back and followed me. That was like, wow. It was
He's very friendly. Yeah.
he is very friendly, very friendly. Yeah, and like we exchanged a few things online, right? And then like I think during the pandemic, I think that was the time when we finally got to talk to each other online. Yeah. And then now like last year I've met him like 3 times already. So it's like it's a very nice, transition from there. But he has introduced me to a lot of different people. It was really cool.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's great. And I think that's the other thing to take note of when it comes to networking. There are people that are very nice and they will engage you, like Daniel. But I
Yeah.
think you also have to be comfortable with rejection. They may be
Uh-huh.
people, and especially with finding jobs. So I know someone, a friend who also was laid off because of the pandemic. So she was let go. So for a year she was unemployed, but she knew she wanted to work outside of Malaysia because again, same things that we talked about, issues of wages, skill sets. The job that she wanted to do was not existent here.
Mm-hmm.
She wanted to be a product manager in a tech company. So she applied to jobs overseas, which means a lot of cold emails or messages on places like LinkedIn and also on job postings. So it's okay to be transparent, like but again, like I said, be tactical. Be like, hi, I saw this job opening at your company. Go to the recruiter. She just sent a cold email or a cold message on LinkedIn. When I say cold, it means that you've never had a contact before, so that's why it just comes out of nowhere. So that's why it's called a cold email.
Oh,
But
cold
it's
email, right.
yeah, a cold call or a cold email. It's okay. So just reach out, just try, but be tactical and polite. There are
Mm-hmm.
people that will respond. So I think from her feedback, she said throughout the year she sent like hundreds of messages and applications, but only maybe 10% or 20% like would answer back. If and some might say no, but that's great. If they said no, at least they're polite. There are some people that just completely ignore.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Be resilient, be patient. If you're very sure of what you want to do, like things like applying for a job overseas, it's not easy. Applying for a particular role in a company that's very competitive, so that's challenging. Yeah, so just keep that in mind.
Yep, definitely. Wow, that was a really interesting conversation, like from start to finish, Arina. It's like
Yes,
I've
it
learned a
was.
lot of things.
I hope so. It was a great chat.
It was. I think let's see. We in the comments, right? If there's any questions that you guys want to ask. You have
Yep.
any questions? We'll just wait. But for
Oh,
now, let's just see if there's any questions. Let's just wait for a few minutes.
no problem.
No problem. But actually, talking about being tactical on getting, people to talk to you, I think that's how I oftenly do it most of the time.
That's good.
Yeah, and mostly it works. So,
Yeah, correct. By
but
the way, whoever is showing the slide, you can close it now. It's okay. We're done.
all right, right.
Yeah.
But I mean, of course, it doesn't work all the time. But it does work if you have to write. I think this is where communication also exists. It works. Like
Yeah.
you know how to like properly compose a very good message, right?
Yeah. And be very clear, be transparent. I get so many messages from people that just message me and just say hi, and that
And
is it.
then
and there's nothing. And I am not incentivized, or I don't feel like responding to you because I don't know who you are, and you're just messaging me hi. It's different if you're
Mhm.
messaging me, hi, my name is Arinah. I saw your post on LinkedIn. I'm interested in this job. I have a background in XYZ. Would you be open for a call? So then at
Mhm.
least I'm clear. Then if I'm okay, then we'll
And
meet.
then we'll do it. Mhm.
The worst case is they'll say no, and that's it. Then your life goes back to normal. So don't. So yeah, you don't lose anything, honestly.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah, definitely.
so don't take it for granted. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, like, there's just one people out of like millions, so like, there's many people to network.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay, I think the audience are quite shy. I think they were
No
maybe
worries.
too.
It's okay. It's okay. No problem.
Yeah, I mean, it is a learning curve for everybody, getting to speak up, but like, honestly, what you've shared to us today, Arina, was really really impactful. Very, gives us a very big understanding and perspective on how the workforce is in Malaysia and for young people particularly.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I hope it was helpful. So yeah, I put a lot of emphasis on understanding what you want, which means doing a lot of research, doing a lot of reading, talking to people, and I think I put a lot of emphasis also on just trying. It's okay. So sometimes I know some people, they malu, they don't know what to do. Another thing that I would like to add is, in whatever, either in your own organization or people that you've networked with, if you can find a mentor that can help guide you in whatever that you're doing, I think that would be very valuable as well, because you have someone
Mhm.
who's experienced. A mentor is different than a sponsor. So a sponsor is someone within your company. So within your organization, they can be a direct supervisor, but they don't have to be. Basically, this person is going to be fighting for you in the company. So whenever there's promotions coming up, or apa ni, end of year appraisals, your sponsor is the one that's going to fight for you. So have that. You need someone who's in that room and in that discussion to go and ensure that you move up the ranks, because especially
Mhm.
in an environment where there's so much competition and there's so many people, and how do you stand out, right? So like I said, that's why I said to track all of your achievements and all your deliverables, and also try and get a sponsor. Yeah.
Definitely, yeah, and also get a mentor as well. I think everybody needs a mentor in life.
Yeah, very true. I wish I had
Yeah.
one much earlier. I didn't get one until I started working already, so yeah,
Oh,
it
really?
takes
Who so
time.
who is your mentor?
I have a few people. So I joined. I'm very passionate about gender equality. So I joined different women's rights groups. So I found some of my mentors there. I also found some people who I reconnected with from my university. So they are also my mentors. People like Daniel as well. He's been a great mentor for me. So they can be anywhere. And these people will help give you that reality check of, like, actually, you need to improve on certain things,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
or
definitely.
actually, or you need to negotiate better, things like that. So you always need that kind of bouncing, a sort of sounding board, to bounce
Mm-hmm.
ideas off. Yeah.
Definitely. Wow. I think we've come to the end of our session, Arina. But thank you so much. Honestly, if I'm in Selangor, I would definitely want to like have another chat with you again.
For sure. Yeah, no problem. Anytime.
I would definitely be there. Maybe we will ajak Daniel as well.
Correct. We'll do that.
If you're listening to this, Daniel, we're gonna do that one day.
Nice.
Right. Anyways, thank you, Arinah Najwa, for being a part of the first session. It was a very great honor, and we've learned a lot of things. And I hope everybody in the chat, or in those who are viewing, will learn some things as well from our conversation with Arina. Thank you, Arinah Najwa. Thank you so much for coming.
Thanks for having me. Take care.
No problem. Take care. All right. That's a very interesting discussion from Arinah Najwa. Now I'll give it to Alia to take it away.
This time, just to make sure. Okay, you can hear me, right? So that was such an insightful talk. I myself learned a lot from that, and I really hope I'm starting to get you as an idol, and I'm learning a lot. And since I'm a SEM1 student, and I learned a lot from that, and will be learning a lot more from the other speakers. So next we have an author and a poet named Charissa Ong. Just a brief introduction about her. She's the founder of Penwings Publishing. She's awarded for International Impact Book Award for Best Book Cover Design 2022 and created a 13-week UI UX program. Trained and sold it at the One Academy's Diploma Multimedia Program. So without further ado, I'll pass it on to you, Heika.
All right, thank you, Alia. Right. So the next guest is a guest that I've recently just met last year, also with Daniel Rahman. Yep, he has literally opened up to me to a lot of different people. But but right now we're going to invite another interesting guest, and I think quite inspiring one as well, because she did a TED Talk, I think, during the pandemic. So without further ado, please welcome Charissa Ong.
Hi everyone. Can you see me?
Hi.
Hi, it's so nice to be here. Thank you so much for the introduction. I like the fact that you put my writing life and my UI UX life side by side.
No, I mean, your life is pretty interesting, if I'm being honest, you know, like you started off like, you
Thanks.
know, following your passion, I think in 2016, and then it's been like, I think it's been like 7 years right now. Been 7 years.
Yeah, since 2016, when I was 24 years old, I started my company.
Yeah. I mean, like now it's become like an international seller. You've been selling it
Yeah.
to Brunei, the Philippines. It's amazing, legit,
Thank you so much.
literally. Yeah. I mean, like when I first met you, like when we were eating out with Daniel, I was, I was really amazed that I get to meet these other people like you as well, you know.
In a mama, in the vegetarian restaurant.
In a vegetarian restaurant, yeah. It was a really interesting discussion. But anyways, now we're stuck to talking virtually, right?
Yeah, it's
Right.
so sad because the thing is, my parents are from Penang, and I go back to
Oh,
Penang.
really?
Yeah, and I go back to Penang every year. So yeah, it's okay. I'll go back next time.
I mean, if the English Language Club is always open for any collaborations. If you want to come to Penang, feel free. We will definitely give you accommodation and all the stuff
Wow,
needed for you to feel comfortable and accommodated, right?
Nice. All right, cool.
So yeah. So without further ado, I think let's start the session for today. And honestly, I haven't, I've known you for quite a while. I mean, I don't know you personally yet, but I think today will be a time for me to get to know who you are and how you started your passion in building a book company, right? So before we move on to your slides and stuff, right? Why don't you give a little introduction about yourself? Who is Charissa Ong?
Okay, hi everyone who has not met me yet. My name is Charissa Ong, and luckily I have here. Currently, I am the owner of Penwings Publishing. I hope you don't hear the construction noise behind me, but I'm the owner of Penwings Publishing, and I've been publishing other authors. You'll meet one of the author after me at 4:30. So this is my books, which you can find in all major bookstores in MPH, Popular, Kinokuniya, Sutaya, and all these bookshops in Malaysia, Brunei, Philippines, Amazon, etc., etc. So it's poetry and short stories, all in English. And I've been doing it for close to 7 years now. Yeah, I started when I was 24. And that's my side gig. So my main gig is UI UX. So I graduated from a degree in interactive media design from the One Academy. So what we learned there is like how we build websites, how we build Android, simple robotic stuff, and then a bunch of different things like apps and all that. So that's why I'm in 123RF now. I used to be the head of design in Boost e-wallet, if you know Boost e-wallet. Yeah.
Oh
so
yeah.
now,
You were behind that?
yeah. So since the beginning, like since the first download until 3 years, I think. So I was
Wow.
Yeah, so I was leading a team of design. So whatever you see in the app, like when it first launched, that was me and my team's work. Yeah. So I left Boost and then I'm now here in Imagine, because before that I was with a little small company. Then I was in McKinsey for a while, and then I came to 123RF. So it was just kind of like
It's a big
yeah.
change.
Yeah. So I was just jumping around, but at least now I'm like kind of settled at 123RF doing like photo editing and stock images and all this fun,
Ah.
cool AI generated stuff. Yeah.
Oh
So
wow, that is interesting. So you technically are working in tech.
yes, I'm actually my profession is in tech, but for some reason I like writing and like traditional publishing also on the side. So it's very,
Ah.
very contrasting because a lot of multimedia designers, they don't really touch publishing stuff, and publishing graphic designers, they don't touch multimedia stuff. So I'm kind of just doing both. Yeah, at the
Okay,
moment.
nice. I mean, I hope all the engineers and all those, because this campus is engineers, hospitality, as well as science, as well as the health sciences. But I think you're coming from tech itself and then jumping into the book industry is kind of a big shift. Well, not literally jumping, but you are working as a
Doing
side
both
gig.
lah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're doing
at the
both
same
things
time.
at once. Yeah. So without further ado, thank you, Charissa, for introducing yourself. That was a very lovely introduction.
Great.
Right. So today I'm just gonna share you like with Arinah, I'm gonna share you all the questions that I have for Charissa, right? And we'll get on to it. So let me just share all the questions, right? So the first question I'll be asking her is, what inspired you to follow your passion despite having a 9-to-5 job? How would you describe your journey during the early phases of pursuing something you love? And would you encourage somebody to take up a passion? And lastly, what consideration would you share before following your passion? Now, I think these are very philosophical for me, very philosophical questions to dive into. But
Okay, cool. Maybe you
yeah,
can just whip up the slides one more time, then I'll answer them slowly one by one throughout.
sure. Let's start with the first question. Like, what inspired you to follow your passion despite having a 9-to-5 job? I think that's the dream job. Everybody would 9-to-5 is like stable, and you're working with somebody. But you chose a different route, Charissa. Like, you want to start up a business, you want to start up a book and publishing company. Like, so what inspired you to become this person today?
Actually, being in a 9-to-5 job has always been my safety net. So I never left my 9-to-5 job. That's why I do my book publishing on the side. Yeah, because like your passion and your dreams cost money. So where is that money coming from? Investors. So your best investor is yourself. So that's how I kind of retain 2 jobs at once. Yeah, and how I decide whether I want to do 2 jobs at once and not quit one and just do the other full time is that if I do my day job 100% of the time, I'll feel really sad because and bored because I'm a person that's easily bored. So if you know me and you follow me on my Instagram and whatnot, I have like 100 hobbies that I do every day.
Oh my god!
So,
No, that you travel as well.
yeah. So in my publishing life also, if I do that alone by itself, I think it's quite again, I get easily bored also. So these two kind of complement each other in a very nice way, even though both of them are design, but they both require different skills from me. So I like just having both. Yeah, because nowadays it's very rare to have someone work in a company for 10 years already. Usually, even when you're studying, you're trying to do something else. So everyone always has a side gig somewhere. To make them feel alive. So that's how people are changing nowadays. Not one person I know is just doing one thing only. They have a lot of things that they are passionate about. So it's very nice to see.
So like, how did you? Where was your inspiration to publish books? Like, what book?
Inspiration. So why I got inspired to also, I think I went off a tangent there. Sorry. So what inspired me to go into publishing, right? Basically in the beginning, I hated reading. Like I don't read anything. So writing was not even in the question. It's not even in my dream at all. So only when I started to read more when I was in high school, throughout college, is when I fell in love with writing and all that. So I started to write, and then I broke up, and then I got like time, right, and emotions. So I started to write a lot, and it kind of inspired me. Like other people inspire me with their stories. Whatever I watch on TV, whatever I listen to like on the radio and stuff. So I published it online, and I got some validation there. And then someone actually inspired me to to publish a book. Yeah, so I took that up as a challenge because when I was young, 24, we all want to have something that we are proud of in our lives. And that was something I wanted to have. and I was like in a quarter life crisis also. So I took that, I took that part and I just went with it. I have no idea what is publishing world. My family has no experience in publishing, so we just kind of went into it, just talked to people who actually did publishing over a bit, printers and whatnot, and then that's how we just kind of went into it. So I can say the people around me inspired me to get into it. Publishing.
I see, I see. Wow, okay. So it started off by, you know, you didn't like reading at all, and then you started like picking up the pace, and then you published it on. I think that's kind of how like modern authors are now. You know, like they just publish their stuff online, and then somebody picks up. Hey, you know what? You should be make up.
Yeah, and then it's suddenly famous, and you're like, what happened? Okay, a full-time job, like TikTok or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, I would definitely want to read one of your books one day. Definitely, I haven't got time to like buy them, but I think poetry is definitely underrated.
Yeah, but I'm just so happy that like there's a market and I'm still doing it after 7 years, and people are still ordering my book.
Yeah, honestly, you're keeping the dream alive, man. Like, it's damn
Yeah,
amazing.
and people are still buying my book, even though like my first book launched in 2016. It was like 7 years ago. I still have to send orders out like last week.
Oh
Yeah.
wow!
So it's still selling after 7 years. It's a really
So
good
would you
like
say
slow moving product.
I see. So like, would you say your content is evergreen?
Yes, it is. It's I try to pick a product that is so before I created my company, I make sure the product I create, because I'm very lazy to always update products all the time. Let's say you're selling fashion, right? You need to, it's very fast, like food also very fast. So I'm very lazy to be updated and to publish so many things every day and like every month. So I chose something that is classic, timeless. Content will kind of still sell over 10 years. I referred to J.K. Rowling and all that. Harry Potter has been in the market for decades. People are still buying it right now. So I say, I think it's a very smart business decision to go into the book industry. And if I excel at it, I can maintain it for a long time because I'm still doing my full-time job. So that's how I think I need to have a product that is not too demanding. Then I can jaga my main job, which is my bread and butter job.
So you're just waiting for your big break to become, I don't know, like a very famous poet.
Yeah, then I quit my UiX job. My boss. My boss was here, right? Okay, I did share this link on LinkedIn, so like,
I mean, sponsors pick me up.
Yeah.
But anyway, but like we talk about following passion, right? We've heard the stories before, like follow your passion, follow your dreams, make your heart you'll be happy and all that stuff, But like you said in the beginning of the show just now, that you said that following your passion takes up a lot of money, time, and effort, right? So like, how would you describe your early, like, tell us the audience, like, how is it like during the early phases in pursuing something you love?
Yeah, so there's a lot of analysis that goes through it because I want to minimize the risk as much as possible because the investment is my own money. So if I lose my own money, then I'll be very sad. So it's very important, I guess, to use your own money in the first round of your dreams because you take everything more seriously. Because if you get someone to invest, like your mother put in money, or like you have some investors, angel investors put into your business and stuff, you kind of are a bit more careless with your choices. So I use my own money. That's one thing. I worked a lot of weird jobs, not weird jobs, but odd jobs, legal jobs, which is like promoting flyers, selling cameras, and selling jig cranes and all this kind of thing. So using my own money in the beginning really helped me make better decisions because it really forces me to prioritize what I want to spend on. So the first 2 years of my publishing life, I spent $0 on marketing, like zero. All my press, everything that's online, Vulcan Post says, all that is all free because they picked up my story. So that's one thing. And then again, like I mentioned earlier, the product that you want to sell. Like how much time can you update this product? Because like e-commerce is a very, very demanding thing. So what kind of product and what's the lifespan of this product that you want to sell? So that's another thing. And then another consideration is like, can I handle this myself in the first 1 year, first 1 or 2 years. So I'm very lucky to have my mom, who is like a chief logistics person. So she
Oh
can help me with like
wow.
purchase orders, invoicing, accounting, all this kind of thing, while I handle the PR, marketing, product side. So the whole company was just two of us for
Mhm.
like 3 or 4 years. So before she was on board, she also kind of like thought I was just playing around.
Mhm, mhm.
But until I went to SSM only, then she's like, oh, okay, this girl is serious. Okay, I help you kind of thing. Before that, she was like, huh, you sure or not? You want to do this? Then I'm like, yeah, I'm sure. I'm serious. So another thought is connections. It's very hard to get connections, especially if you want to go into an industry that you've never been in before. You don't know anyone there. So I think what I did, I was desperate. Like every entrepreneur that's desperate, they just start emailing help emails, contact us emails just to get a connection to. So don't be afraid to like do that. That's what I did for my Filipino distributor in Philippines. I think I emailed like 400 over emails.
Mhm.
I only got one reply, which is
Ooh.
that distributor. So for me, connections are like the hardest to build, especially if you really don't know anyone. Yeah. So that was my struggle when I was starting out. Getting the logistics done, getting the product done, getting the marketing done, getting the connections up so that everything runs smoothly, and trying to understand how everything works all together. Yeah.
So technically, like it was all on your own for those first 2 years.
Yeah, me and my mom actually.
Oh, I
I
see.
couldn't pay my mom like a monthly salary, so because she has her own job also at the time, and like I want to like but it's not much, but I still have to pay her for her time for this. So yeah,
But you were also doing a 9 to 5 job, right? In those years as well.
yeah, product. I was in Boost at the time.
You were in
Yeah,
Boost. I see. I
yeah,
see. So was it easy to juggle your time with with having a
yeah.
nine to five job and then
Yeah, so that's actually the topic of my TED talk during the pandemic, like
Ah,
work-life
yeah,
balance.
yeah.
So I really am very strict with my 9 to 5. I start at 9 and end at 5 or 6 max. So you don't call me after, like, only if it's like a true emergency, then I will help. But if it can wait, it will wait like for the next day. So because I take my time after work very, very seriously, like a typical French person or a typical Swedish person, after 6, you cannot contact them anymore. So that is something that Malaysians need to learn. And I think they are starting to do that because a lot of younger people that's coming out of school now, that's the first thing they ask a company. Like, do you require me to work like after work hours? Because if they do, you can kiss your passion goodbye. No more. Yeah. So it really matters whether which company you go to, whether they appreciate the concept of work-life balance. So if they can give you that, then you have time for your passion, which is after work hours. So that's
Oh,
what I
after
do. I
hours.
do my passion on the weekends and after work hours. Sometimes during lunchtime also.
Or even like during that 1 hour period, you would just like do some stuff.
Yeah, I will eat and then do my stuff, but
Oh
it's okay
wow,
lah.
multitasking.
Yeah, but now I have a staff,
Okay.
Arinah. Hopefully she's watching here. She's watching me. Amazing.
I mean, you did prepare a slide, so do you want to share some things from the
Oh
slides?
yes, sure, for sure. Just very quickly. Okay, can go to the next slide. So thank you so much for the questions. Just want to show a little bit of my products myself, but I will not only publish me, I publish other people as well. So right now I have about 4 or 5 authors under my company. And all the books that I publish, a lot of people think they are from overseas until they reach the last part. Huh? This Buddha from Subang Jaya and all. Then like, oh, okay. They're like, oh, okay, it's from Malaysia. Then I'm like, oh, okay. So they're very proud that like this is a local author, right? So this is my book, and this is the box set. Behind there, the blue color one at the back is illustrated poem, short story. Okay, next. So this is a sample of what's inside. So I do play a lot with challenges. So this is called the diminishing poem. So as you can see, it goes down, become 1, 2 words left.
Oh wow,
So,
okay.
yeah, it starts with a sentence. So every single line is a different story. So I don't know if you're all right for each other. I don't know if you're all right. I don't know if we are. I don't know. I do. So you can see I didn't add any words. I just kind of deduct, but it just tells a story from a person that is not sure about being with another person, but in the end they end up on the altar
Together.
at marriage. So this is something.
Wow.
Yeah. So this is Daylight Dialogues, my second book, which I published in 2018. So I have about 2 official poetry short story books. One in 2016, my first book, and then one in 2018. I'm publishing one more this year in April. So it's going to be big because like my readers have been asking for it for like 5 years. So I'm so sorry for letting you wait for 5 years. 5 years later only I published. So yeah, a little plug there. So I really make sure that people that read my stuff understand the depth of the poem with simple English, because a lot of times English is not people's first language. It can be their second language. So a lot of times they also learn English with my book. So it's quite happy. Yeah. So they actually highlight and then they write the definitions and stuff. It's quite a big thing now in the Bookstagram community. Okay. Please.
But okay, this is just a random question. Like one day, let's just say one day your books became like in the education system. Well, how would you feel?
I would feel very happy. Actually, that is my main goal, because I publish the practice book, which has activities in there.
Oh wow, okay. This is okay. I did not expect you to do this, but okay.
Yeah, so my main love is my other love is education.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I publish this poetry and short stories. You'll see the picture later,
Sure,
where
sure.
there's activities of how to write poems and short stories, how to proofread your own work, how to self-critique yourself. How do you understand what is good and what is bad? Because that's how you learn by yourself.
Mhm.
Yeah, so you can't always have a mentor or somebody always telling you what to do. You need to learn how to learn. So that's
you
what I
need to learn
love.
how to- yeah.
Yeah, I love learning. So once you grasp the concept of learning, you can learn anything in life at all.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now where can we buy this book? I'm kind of interested.
Okay, so this practice book, which is also available in all the bookstores, MPH, Popular, and all that. Yeah, okay, got it. Okay, this is my copy. As you can see, I've got a lot of tabs at the side. So you can see there's a lot of poetry prompts and exercises that you can do. And so the thing is, there's a lot of explanation also why everything is important or not important, and how it impacts the industry. So because a lot of times education, they do not relate it to real life experiences.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, because I'm a publisher, I have seen thousands of manuscripts. So I can tell you, why is finding a good title important? Why is it important? Because it's important for SEO. SEO means search engine optimization. So when people find your book on Google, if your book title is unique enough and easy to remember, they can find your book and they can buy your book, equals you got more money. Yeah. So it is very related to business and marketing and how you can and it's just about title. Yeah. So it's everything else, the content, the thickness of the book, the language you use. So whatever I use, it's just not for educational purposes only. It's more of like, how can you make sure it's optimized, the stuff that you're writing. Yeah, optimized and relevant. Yeah, very industry.
Wow.
It's very industry built. This book. Industry
Built
influence. Yeah, industry influence. So you can press next. Oh, I bet Apple, yeah. So I have also motivational stuff like this. So there's always a second chance if you want to succeed. For bruised fruits are still fruits if it still has seeds. So this one is more of like motivational. Like even though you're hurt and you're like people step on you and stuff, as long as you are still a seed, you can still flourish and you can still contribute to the world. Even though you're ugly on the outside, like people bruise you and stuff, it's still fine. You still have worth. Yeah.
Or at least you've run so many problems. There's always still some good seeds inside of you.
Yeah, there's always a little seed, like a mustard seed there. I have a little necklace that's a mustard seed there. It's a tiny, tiny seed that can grow into a very big tree. So as long as you have a hope as small as a mustard seed is enough. Yeah, that's why I usually. Okay, next. Okay, so that's me. I read about 30 minutes every night now. I have a reading goal, so it really helps me think, articulate my words, have better vocabulary. And reading changed my life entirely because I get to read full perspectives from books. It's very different from reading articles. So I really encourage everyone to read, regardless if it's a children's book or like a fiction or like a self-help or anything. So reading is the most ultimate hobby that I appreciate and I'm so grateful for. So I wrote, designed, funded, published, and marketed my first book, and these are the rest of my books. The last one I was showing you was the practice book, the activity book. Yeah, which I actually went, Manipal University actually used it for their workshop.
Oh
So
wow.
I'm putting this book in universities. Yeah, and universities are also ordering this book. Yeah. And so now, yeah, head product designer, and that's all the books that I have. Thank you,
I
President.
see. The next slide.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, cool.
So this is my life as a digital designer, head of UI UX. So I do design thinking, prototyping, animating, UX copywriting, product management, user testing, blah, 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 all these things. So basically I'm in tech.
I mean, technically it is in tech because you're designing things in tech.
I need to talk a lot in office. So like that's just a lot of meetings. I just talk a lot. Okay, next. Yeah, so if you want to know more about like design thinking and like designing for apps and all that, you can talk to me also. I have like multiple streams of stuff I talk about. So yeah, so this is my full-time job, 9:30 to 5:30. Next. And then what I do for myself and the community, which is I do part-time volunteering, do workshops and stuff like this, talking to you all, sharing. I try to do it twice a month or 3 times a month, depending on how many engagements people call me to do. Okay, next. And then I do, I told you I have so many hobbies, right? So,
yeah, this is a lot of hobbies. Legit.
Yeah, so I love, at grade 7 actually on Erhu now, pole fit, I also do it every weekend. I draw with pencil. I published my book and I just started playing harp. I'm grade 2 now actually. I love playing piano, although nobody really taught me how. I just like, I just like to do everything. Like now I'm horse riding also in this morning. So, and rock climbing.
Oh yeah, rock climbing. Yeah, you post that often on your stories, like rock climbing.
Yeah.
Like,
So I'm like, to me, in my mindset, I can learn anything I want to learn. You just give me something, you just give me a few weeks and I will freaking master it. So that's my mindset. Like I hope everyone has the same mindset as well.
So say to me, if I give you like an engineering problem right now, I give you like a month to do it, would you do it?
I think I will. If I'm that determined, I will. Like I will 100%.
All right.
I can tell you.
I'll give you an engineering question.
I think everyone can do it. Even you, like everyone can learn anything they want to learn, as long as they learn how to learn. So that's the thing. Yeah. Okay, next. Okay, next slide. Yeah, so that was like traveling, diving, climbing. Yeah, so this is like, I'm just showing, so I'm not gloating or anything. It's just that I'm just showing that you have 24 hours a day. And it's really important like how you use that 24 hours, right? And you can really do so many things. And the main reason why I do all these things is because I have too many people around me telling me they don't have time. So if I do all this, ever since I did all this, not one person has told me that they have not enough time because they know I do more than them. So I really hate someone telling me that they don't have time. You can make time, maybe, but the thing is, if you have children and whatnot, maybe that's different. But like you can make time, like you can always make time for anything, your passion. Okay, next. Oh yeah, sorry, I do some gamings and stuff also. It's really fun.
You play Horizon? Oh wow.
Yeah, this is my passion. So in the future, I want to go into the gaming industry. Yeah.
Gaming? You want to go to gaming?
Yes, I love gaming so much.
Okay, what games have you played so far?
Horizon Zero Dawn, Final Fantasy, this Ratchet and Clank.
Oh, you play Final Fantasy?
Yeah, Final Fantasy is my 10 out of 10. I love it so much.
Oh my god, did you
7,
play
8, 9, 10.
remastered version?
Yeah, remastered, yes. PS4. I have a PS4
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah, I love linear stories. Detroit Become Human is amazing also. Yeah.
You know what? You should try horror games next.
Oh yeah, I Resident Evil, yes.
Oh, okay, nice. Resident Evil.
And Last of Us. Very
You should
good, very
also
good.
try. You should also try Five Nights at Freddy's. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Like
Okay, yeah, I'll put that later. I'll
no,
just
the thing
try
is,
and play it
thing is,
next time.
I watched some gameplay like the recent one, Security Breach, right? Yeah. I think you like it because it's really interesting. The story is like it's not gory, but it's really interesting.
All right, cool. Looking forward. Okay, cool. Maybe next slide.
Sure, sure.
Okay, I think I kind of talked about this already, how I started writing, so we can just skip this. Basically, yeah, I started out alone. And then I had to create a slide to convince my mom that I was serious. And then finally we did, and then we press next. Yeah, that's how I actually posted all of my poems online.
Yeah.
And then I started to get validation and say like, hey, you're actually quite good. Why don't you like publish yourself? And then, but I actually wrote for 2 years first before wanting to publish because I have a imposter syndrome. I think like everyone has it. Yeah, I feel like I wasn't good enough until only when some people told me that I was. Then okay, then I can.
Okay, nice.
Next.
Hold on.
So I ended up not so alone because I did a lot of collaboration with everyone online. So I think that's the beauty of being online. You can do that. Next slide. Like there. So that I actually collaborated with a lot of illustrators and calligraphers that visualize my poem. So I'm very happy about that. Very beautiful. So if you're starting up any business or anything, collaborations with other small independent artists or independent business owners are like the best thing you can do.
Oh, definitely. Well, actually, also I want to add on before we go on to the next session. I think
Yeah.
when we work, right, when we start businesses or even start entrepreneurship, I think at the end, I think the most important thing is to try to network as much as possible and then try to connect those fields that are related to help you boom your business. You know, because at the end we are working together as humans, as a community, as a society. I think that's really important.
Yeah, because I think cross-pollinating between industries are like the best. Because let's say you work in the doctor field and then you work as a dancer. So you become a dancing doctor and then like people love you on TikTok. So yeah, so it really is very, very funny. Like the weirder the merge of your industries, the more cool it is.
Yeah, definitely. It's like you have like by day you're this and by night you're that, something like that.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Yeah. Next. Yeah. So we related, and I started to get more like media covering my story and stuff like that. And then next. So that's my first photo. With my first book. So nobody wanted to publish me at all. So I had to do it myself. Because everybody ignored my message. They're like, who is this girl? Like, you know? And I had to email the MPH support email so that they can help distribute my book. So, and miraculously they replied. And before I actually went into this this whole business, I really had to do a lot of market research first because at the time Lang Lev, another poet from Australia, she was really good. Rupi Kaur, not yet. But people were buying Lang Lev's books. So when I read her stuff, I'm like, okay, I think I can write as good as her. So I was like, okay, maybe I can sell and take a little bit of her market share. So that's how I actually decided to be brave and went into it, because I didn't simply just want to publish my book like, okay, I think my book is so good, I think it can sell like 1,000. I really had to make sure that my work was as good as hers, if not better. Then only I could do it, because I see a lot of very, not to say proud lah, but very proud graphic designers that they think their work is the best, and then they want to sell their book for like 500 ringgit per book or something like that, and never really think about like what is the purchasing power of Malaysians and all these kind of things. So always do a lot of analysis first before like taking any leap, because there's a lot of risk.
Yeah, definitely. Because like if I was like on the surface when you say if you want to publish a book in Malaysia, poetry specifically, I think it'll be a hard market to
it is.
But
now, for some reason we've sold like close to 40,000 books. So
wow, that is a lot. How do you think?
Someone's buying it.
I want to look at the stats. I want to look at the numbers.
How
did you do this?
Yeah, I know. I'm so surprised. I'm like so happy also. Like, yeah, people read. Okay, like we don't just climb on trees and like shoot darts with like poisonous things. Yeah, we can write, we can read English, we can speak English.
It's
Yeah,
just
so
that you just have to like make sure you target the right people.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Definitely.
Okay, next slide, please. Yeah, so this was my first award. I was a finalist. I think I didn't win this time. Only like towards later when I started winning stuff. So yeah, so my book did really, really well. So I'm super happy. And then next. And then more press. Like I said, I paid $0, RM for press. They just came to me and just wanted to cover my story, which I'm
Wow.
super thankful. Super, super thankful. So you can go to my website and check it all out. All my story is in detail there.
From coach,
Penwings.com.
wow, okay, wow. I
Yeah.
mean that is interesting. From something small to something big.
Yeah, it's crazy. Okay, so next. And then it became number one after international book authors as well. Because when I published my book, the MPH didn't even know where to put my book as a category. They're like, oh, should I put it in Malaysian authors or should I put it in literature or what? In the end, they just put it as fiction with all the other international authors who are fiction, like Nicholas Sparks and like Lang Lev and Jojo Moyes and all that. So it's quite amazing. Okay, next. Yeah, so this is just some of the awards. Next. And people all over the world has been super, super supportive. Most of my marketing, like I told you, was RM because of the readers and their word of mouth. So I think word of mouth is the best marketing tool anyone could ever use. So if you have a product worth recommending, that product will fly without you even trying much.
Wow. Okay, you know
Yeah.
what? I really need to set up like a proper day, like a business meeting with you because I need help with something.
Yeah. So I'm like, I'm always promoting word of mouth. Always, all the time. You can spend a lot on social media marketing and all that lah, but in the end, it's still how
word
do
of
people
mouth.
really feel about it? Yeah.
Mhm.
Because when they advocate your stuff, they will really do it personally to their family members or their friends, and people believe their friends more than social media ads. Yeah.
True.
Okay, next. So yeah, takeaway is read a lot. It's the best thing you can ever do for your life. 10 out of 10, the best thing you can ever do. If reading is so hard for you right now, try an easier book. Try Enid Blyton. Try, I don't know, something not classical, something easy like I don't know, Marie Kondo's book or something like that. Yeah. And then second thing is to really observe everything. Observe meaning like how people interact with you, how you interact with people, how entire systems work. How can you zoom into the micro detail and how can you zoom out to the macro stuff? Really observe people's body language, how they react to your product and all this. So this is very design thinking already lah. So you really just need to test your product a lot and just see feedback.
Definitely, yeah.
And then get started even though you know nothing. So how do you get started with nothing is like what I did is I Google how to publish information. Yeah. That's what I did, literally. And then after that, only I kind of got contacts from my friend's father who owned an educational book publishing company and stuff. Then I went to him and I asked him more questions and stuff. So in the end, yeah, just start with Googling, taking notes down. So at least the whole trick is when you start with a very crappy beginning of doing something, you want to fix yourself. So the more you fix yourself, the better the outcome will be. So the first time will always be terrible. 110% first tries are terrible. So just be okay with that. Independence, also prepare to do everything yourself, especially if it's your passion. Because it's your passion, it's no one else's passion. So in the beginning, I was so ready to I did all the marketing myself. I did all the book production myself, connecting with people. And then only I brought in my mom who helped a lot also. But we did everything ourselves. Yeah. And got the book to bestseller. So it's very, very, very amazing. Yeah. So even washing toilet, so like you just have to do it. Like if you have your own office or your own business, like the first person who's gonna wash the toilet is you because you can't afford a cleaner. So you have to wash the toilet yourself. You gotta do everything yourself. You have to wash the windows. Yeah, you got to be prepared to do everything yourself. And also managing your time. It kind of relates to the previous slides that I was showing, or the black slides, how I segregate each hour of my day every week. So I'm very strict with my schedule, my personal schedule and also my work schedule. If 1 hour goes like off, I kind of have to reschedule like my entire week. So it's
Oh
kind of packed.
wow.
Yeah, it's quite packed because I really value time. Time is the most expensive currency you can ever have. So I value it so much. I do not, of course I got relaxed also. I have one rest day, Saturday or Sunday, which I don't do anything. I just lie down on the sofa and look at the fan and think. Yeah, so it's very important to have that day as well.
I mean, like, it's like you're like, what's the word I'm looking for? You just have this elite mentality, just like you have this specific time, specific day, and then like you just relax one day thinking, kind of like Bill Gates in some sense.
Yeah, I'm just like parenting myself, and I'm okay parenting. I'm okay with the parent that I am. So like those kind of tiger mom kind of thing, but I'm my own tiger mom. So the thing is, I see the benefits that come out of discipline, and I loved it so much, and it has brought me to where I am today. So that's why
Wow,
I
wow.
still continuing it. I still constantly challenging myself with new things that I'm addicted to the beginner's mindset. So I'll share that a bit. Next
No, yeah, sure,
slide.
sure. I think that is something that we need to talk about, the beginner's mindset.
Yeah, right. Okay, I think it's the next slide. I think, or like the next 2 slides. I think it's there. Oh yeah, this is just some of my products, my website, and all that. You can just press next. Yeah, so that's the practice book, which you can get from my website as well. Some stickers, some motivational postcards, and like some custom made. This is a story book. I think it's not available anymore, so I need to remove this slide. But you can get it from the box set. It's on the 3rd book. Okay. Next. Yeah, so this is the book which Popular was very nice to put my book at the front display, Samui Pyramid. They are very, very supportive. Usually you need to pay for it. But they're like, oh, okay, you're a key account. So since you help us sell a lot of books and we got a lot of money from you, so we're gonna put it in front. Yeah, because I'm a key account. Okay, next. We also did an audiobook. This is so taxing. You have to record every single line. I don't think I'll ever want to do it again. At least not in the near future.
Not in the future, yeah.
Female and male. Okay, next. That's the activity book. So this is the award that I got this last year. So I'm quite happy that the illustrator that I hired, who's also my friend from the One Academy, he's super talented. It actually validates my 2 lives, one being a designer and one being a writer, because there's a lot of preconceptions of writers can't design and designers can't write. So it's very binary, they think. So I'm happy to bridge those 2 industries together and hey, I can write, I can design too, I can do 2 things. What are you talking about? Shut up.
I can do anything I want,
Yeah, I can do anything you want in life. Okay, next. This is Zack Shah's book, which he will show later. This is his 2nd book. Next. And this is the 2 pathways that I always look in my life. So it's okay to not choose sometimes. It's okay if you can handle it, you can actually do 2. You just need to manage your time well. If you see my schedule, then you know why.
Yeah. Get you.
Press next, please. Yeah, so this is more of an illustration of you can still run 2 lives at once. So it's up to you. But the thing is, I don't want to promote the hustle culture too much also, because at times it can be a bit much for many people. So I always actually encourage people to take a step back, breathe, and try to evaluate what really makes them happy. Yeah, because not everything in life needs to be hustling and need to do 2 to 3 jobs at once all the time. It works for me, but it might not work for many people. So in the end, it's just what you think makes you happy lah. Yeah. Next. So this is my mantra. I say to myself every day: live as if you're going to die tomorrow, but learn as if you're going to live forever.
Whoa, that is a very impactful, quote.
It's such a such a basic YOLO kind of quote, but the second part is what makes it a bit more substantial.
Yeah,
Because
but
it
learn as if
is-
you're going to live forever.
yeah, it's like, oh, I think I should learn Erhu because I might live up to 200 years old. And what if I can't do UI UX anymore? I can still busk on the side of the road and still earn money by playing my Chinese ukulele. Yeah, so I think of stuff like that.
Yeah.
Okay, next. A jack of all trades is a master of none, but oftentimes better than a master of one is my second mantra. So
Whoa, okay.
it's okay to be specialized in one thing, but it's better if you specialize in many things.
Yes.
Again, like you can bridge one industry with another industry, be a dancing daughter or whatever on TikTok. That suits you. So be the unique one, be the special one. Although everyone is special, so that makes everyone not special. But anyway, that's a topic for another time. But yeah, just try many things. Okay, next is again, yeah, I said don't let hustle culture hustle you. So if you want to do anything, do it because it makes you better than who you were yesterday, not to show others that you can do it, right? It's just you and yourself yesterday. So I'm always evaluating at the end of the night. Am I today as myself? Am I better than myself yesterday? If no, why? If yes, why? And then I do that again every day at the end of the day, journaling. So that's how you progress. And that's how I think I kind of end up with like 100 hobbies, because I always want to be better than who I was yesterday. So that's why I keep piling on things like, okay, I want to be better at this than I was yesterday. So I keep piling on until like, yeah, I don't know what's wrong in my life already. It's like too much stuff already. Okay, next.
Still,
Yeah,
like,
you want
the way that you do things like amazing, man.
It's just crazy, right? I think too much sometimes. Okay. So I say like again, another mantra that I talk to myself: be addicted to beginner's mindset. So I had a harp performance recently, and I was grade 1, 2, and then there were kids that are like 7 years old who are like so good. They're like prodigies. I don't know how are they playing it, and I think I messed up with my routine, but I was okay with that. Like I'm okay with being bad at something. I'm okay embarrassing myself in public. So I wasn't too upset with myself. I was just saying, oh, okay, maybe next time I'll be better. That kid will have a better life. Like let that kid be that kid. So although I'm like a 30-year-old woman now, 31, and versus a 7-year-old kid who is like playing amazing, it's okay to be a noob. Yeah.
I think, yeah, you know what? Because like, at the end of the day, like we all have to start from somewhere, right? Like
Yeah, you
even
have to
when
start from somewhere, yes.
yeah, we start from somewhere. Like, even when you grow, you know, if you enter into a company, you still have to learn a lot of new things.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
yeah, in the end, you still need to become a beginner in many parts of
Yeah.
life.
You're going to be terrible, and you have to be okay with being terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You gotta be comfortable with that.
Yeah, and you have to be like excited that you're terrible, because the thing is that you can learn something more because you're terrible at something. So in time you can be less terrible at that. So there's an opportunity of learning.
Yeah, yeah,
opportunity
yeah.
of, again, becoming better than who you were yesterday. Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. All right, that's me. That's it, I guess. If there's no other questions or anything, 7 minutes left. So you can follow me on my socials and whatnot if you want to talk to me and ask me more questions.
Definitely. Well, take this chance to network, guys. I mean, we just talked about in the first session. Now this is the time for you guys to network.
Yeah. All right, cool.
Wow.
All you 48 people watching.
Yes. I'm like, I'm still amazed by like what you still do, like from like, you know, not only you're doing a book company, you're doing other stuff as well, like rock climbing, and then you're just doing.
Yeah,
It's just
anyone can do
amazing.
it. Just
Yeah,
do it.
I'm not kidding. It's just if you just set your mind into it, just you know how to make it realistic, the goal and everything. It's just amazing, you know.
Yeah, thank you so much. Like, I'm sure you're like killing it out there also. Like now.
I mean, well, I am killing it in some way. FYP. Anyways, okay, that's a joke for those who are taking FYP. But anyways, yeah, definitely. Let's just see if the audience have any questions. Please don't be shy. Feel free to ask. You have any? I think your secretary or your is
Oh,
watching.
my staff.
It's a hyena. Yeah, hyena.
I know, yeah. She's a.
Yeah. we also met as well during that day as well. A lot of things happen. Wait, Charissa Ong one. Okay, that's your YouTube channel. Oh, you have a YouTube channel?
Yeah, but I think I'm using my office email. That's why I can see 123.
Charissa Ong and 123RF.
Yeah.
Right. I guess the audience is still very shy. I don't think they want to ask
Yeah,
anything.
right.
Honestly, I think they're just like listening, as if it's like a podcast, you know.
Yeah, yeah. If any other soalan, you can email me as well.
Sure. But yeah, thank you, Charissa, again for coming on the show.
Yeah, I'm so happy to be here. I'm always
Okay,
very happy to share my stuff.
Thank you. Hold on. Before we just move on, let me just before we move on, we'll take a little break, right? Take a little break for us to just get ready for the next session. But again, Carissa, thank you so much for coming. It was really honor and really a big honor. And honestly, learning your life story as well, learning your inspiration is really. And honestly, I'm kind of inspired to do a lot of things now because, like, when you think about it, 24 hours is a lot of time.
Yeah. But 8 hours for sleep lah, for sure. I always
Yeah, of course, 8 hours sleep. Cannot skip that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sleep is important.
But yeah. Thank you again. Thank you again for coming again, and I hope we can see you in the future.
Yes, for sure. Bye.
Bye. All right. So without further, the next speaker will be coming in soon. So now we'll take a 10 minutes break for us to get refreshed and get ready for the last session. So you guys, hope you guys will stay till the end because we have another interesting guest who's also a UiTM alumni. Till then, we'll take 10. Goodbye.
Number 5, teamwork, working with other people. Now, number 6, creativity. So, the art. I'm just going to.
Welcome to the International Youth Engagement Talk 2022. The event is from the 17th to 20th of May, and today is our second day. My name is Qatardebate Khalil, and I am an hotel management student at UiTM Pulau Pinang.
So Daniel, based on
Yes,
your experience as a former Oxford student, yes, that I'm really proud to as a student and an education director. Could you please share with us the importance of soft skills in today's world?
Master's in Oxford. I did a master's in law. I also did my undergraduate locally in Malaysia at the International Islamic University Malaysia, IIUM. And those, from my undergraduate to my master's, these were very much formulative years of me becoming the person who I am today, which is a director in one of Malaysia's largest education conglomerates. To answer your question very succinctly, soft skills is very important, and I believe it will be important till the end of time. I'll just add that some people don't even call it soft skills anymore. They use the word essential skills, right? Because why is it soft? Because it's so important and it's so essential, right? And let me just say that there are at least 10 soft skills that exist out there. I'm sure by looking at you, you can probably the most popular ones are always communication, and everybody goes communication, soft skill. Everyone sort of stops there. But actually, the 10 soft skills, and I'm just going to very quickly share them, is time management, right? Like I love how we started on time. I love the montages that you shared. They were just wonderful to see. Number 2, communication. Number 3, problem solving. That's also a soft skill. Number 4, adaptability. You must be adaptable. Number 5, teamwork, working with other people. Now, number 6, creativity. So, the art, the videos that you shared, I also loved how you all had music in the background. That's creativity. Number 8, interpersonal skills, your interaction with people. Number 9, work ethic, your ability to put in effort. Number 8, attention to detail. That means you must have lots of detail. I noticed, Farhan, you spelled your name in full, Ahmad Farhan bin Abdul Aziz Fahmi.
Thank you.
Right? Wonderful name. And number 10, and believe it or not, most people don't know this is a soft skill, leadership. Right. So these are the 10 soft skills. I hope you took notes, but I'll be very happy to bring them up from time to time.
Yeah.
Arinah, go ahead.
Yeah, skills are crucial. Is the question what kind of skills are crucial for students in their studies? Is that the question?
I think so.
Okay. I hope that's the question, Amzar. I think for when it comes to students, to be fair, I studied academic. I didn't go to university now. But I would say having a lot of resilience, I think right now is very important because number one, for you guys, a lot of things have moved online. Not only that, you might also be graduating or working, or even if you're not graduating yet, you want to work and still find work during a time that's not great, right? The economy is still not as great as it was. We're in a conflict globally with Ukraine, and there's it sounds like a bit of a dystopia because there's food shortages, wages are not as great as well. So I think it can be very demotivating. So I think having a lot of resilience would be a good skill to build, especially for students nowadays. Having said that, that doesn't mean you lose your focus. May not be able to go and enter into jobs that you want, but you just do something because of money, because you need to support your family, which is but having that resilience, keeping that focus, I think is very, very important. When it comes to nowadays, because it all ties into your studies, right? Studying becomes a lot more challenging because we read stories online in some rural parts of Malaysia still having internet access issues. It's not great, but that doesn't mean it's right. But I do think I empathize with those who do think having them help overcome that little bit.
Okay, welcome back. Okay. Welcome back. Today I'm so sorry. So next we'll be talking with our last guest for today, Zack Shah. He's an author and also a poet. Also an alumni of UiTMCPP and in Bachelor of Applied Language Studies, author of A Strange and Wicked Magic and More Than Word poetry books, and also content/copywriter at Nurin/Enlina at Sendirian Berhad. So, not trying to waste any more time, I'll move it on, pass it on to Haika.
Wow, honestly, these speakers that came in today are very, very talented and very, very interesting. They give us a lot of different insight about the industry. Well, not too much, just the gist of it, but I think the gist itself can make us ponder and let us think about how we should decide the future that we are going to live in, right? So now the last guest is an alumni of UiTM, right? He from Alia Jasa. He's from the uh, applied English. If what? Oh, okay, language studies, right? Yeah, and he has a lot of things to share about how UiTM instills good working values. So without further ado, please welcome Zack Shah.
Hi, hello everyone.
Hi.
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Hi.
can.
Okay, so everyone's very tired. I'm so sorry.
Oh, no, it's fine, it's fine. I mean, honestly, it has been like consistently around 55 viewers right now. Like they're very, very interested.
Okay. That's good to hear. That's very good to hear. So thank you
Yeah,
everyone for joining, for
and
staying.
mhm, definitely. And honestly, we're waiting for the best for last, Zach. You're the last guest, and we're already excited to hear what you have to say about UiTM, right? Okay, so now just a little background about between me and Zach. We've kind of met before already, but we hadn't had proper time to like chat. But we did last week or 2 weeks ago, around that time, right? We talked about a lot of things together, and we kind of had a lot of similarities. We like Marvel, we like a lot of literatures and stuff,
Yeah.
right? That's pretty cool. But of course, I don't want to give myself to explain about who are you, because I think you're the best person to explain about yourself. Zach Shah, who are you? And tell tell a little bit about yourself.
Okay, hi everyone. Thank you for coming or for staying back. I guess it's so late today, so I'll just keep it quick. So for those of you who don't know, my name is Zack Shah. I'm a Malaysian author and poet. I published my first book. I like to think of it as my first book, More Than Words, under Penwings Publishing in 2019, and recently in 2022. I published my second book under the same publishing company, A Strange and Wicked Magic. So these are my books. This is A Strange and Wicked Magic, and this
Oh yeah,
is
can
More
see,
Than
can see.
Words. So Charissa is actually my friend and I guess my boss, you could say. So you've met her just now. So you've heard all the wisdom that she had to impart. So now I guess it's my turn. I'm also a content writer, and I actually have not graduated yet because my convocation is this year. But I have,
Oh.
yeah, so I have tamat pengajian lah technically like last year. So we're still waiting for the convocation. Don't know when that will be. So yeah, that's basically everything you should know about me.
All right, nice. Now, of course, I guess you can be considered a very successful alumni of UiTM because you published a book, right? And then you're working. I think you're also working at the Carissa, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, like based on your Instagram, you have gained a lot of popularity. If I say so myself, you have a lot of popularity. You
Thank
have
you.
like 6K, 6K viewers, 6K followers. I mean, that's quite a lot.
Thanks. I still feel very like nervous and like a bit shy when people call me successful because as someone who deals with a lot of like insecurity and like self-esteem, like it's still sort of uncomfortable when someone says
Yeah.
I'm successful. So thank you for the compliments. I'm sure I'm sure you're also a success at UiTM, running this very important and influential program. So
Yep.
yeah, come to us both.
Thank you. I mean, I hope this event will definitely impact young people as well as fresh
Yes.
graduates, to work, to think about their future and
Yeah.
give them some food of thought to look forward into the future, right? So
Yes.
for Zack Shah, I think you also prepared a slide.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay.
All right. So this is the title for Zack Shah, Work Skills Island at UiTM. So, but before we move on to your slides and you know your answers, I'm gonna like briefly explain to the audience what questions that I will be that I'll be questioning him throughout the entire life. Sorry, I'm just a bit under the weather
It's
today.
okay.
All right. Okay. So the questions that I'll be asking Zack Shah, there's 4 questions. So what have you learned over the years studying in UiTM? What do you think is the most valuable skill that UiTM has taught you? How important is the usage of the English language, and how far has it taken you? And what would be your advice for your younger self and the students here to pursue in their education? Right. So these are very interesting questions, and I think if I was a UiTM student, which I am, I would definitely be pondering all these questions already. So let's start with the first question, or maybe the first slide you want to present. Like, what have you learned over the years studying UiTM? Describe your learning experience.
Okay. Can we move? Can I control? Okay, this one is okay. Can skip. It's just a bit of the, yeah. Can skip also. I talked about this just now. Okay. So should I talk about this? The part about my journey in UiTM?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so I'm actually a 2-time alumni, if you can call me that. So I had my diploma at UiTM Qatardebate under creative writing, and then UiTM Shah Alam, Bachelor of Applied Language Studies, English for Professional Communication. So that's just like my brief background as a UiTM graduate. So next. Okay, so basically, so while not like directly, these aren't direct classes, you could say. They're like indirect things that I learned from just being a student in general. I'm sure like every college student can relate. It's not just UiTM students. So basically, as a UiTM graduate, the first thing I learned is teamwork and confidence. So basically, the first thing that I had to I had to work on like from the first semester, basically from the get-go, is to get out of my comfort zone, is to get out of my shell, so to speak, because I'm a naturally introverted person. So like I don't really like to engage in social situations, or like, you know, be the center of attraction, center of attention, sorry.
Attention, yeah.
Yeah, so when I had to like present for the first time, it was like, you know, normal, you know, like, you know, stage fright, weak knees, you know, sweating all over my body. So but you know, as time went on, like you learn to embrace the attention and to really you know, work on your self-esteem, which is what presentations are really about. So for those of you who are really struggling with, like, you know, getting up there and like, you know, menggigil, like you know, with your notes and like, okay, this is my presentation. So just think of it as like a conversation with your lecturer and with your classmates. Like, you know, your classmates, like they're your friends. So you're like, you know, it's like you're teaching them something new. Like, think of yourself as a lecturer, if that makes you comfortable. So and think of it like a very good preview to your work, to like when you actually enter the workforce, because you, even if you're like behind a desk, you will be like at least once in a year you will have to present something, or at least, you know, be the center of attention in some event. So take that as practice for those of you who are like in like mass communication. I guess you are naturally charismatic. That's why you chose these kinds of industries, these kinds of fields. So I guess maybe you won't have a problem with, you know, presenting and putting yourself out there. But for those of you who are like, you know, in engineering, for instance, you know, you don't, there's not really much. But I guess like if you're like presenting your schematics or something, like you still need to present, right?
Yeah, that is the communication.
Yeah. I feel like, you know, I don't know much about engineering or what engineering students go through, but I feel like if you're working in an engineering department, like you still need to like, okay, this is the third floor and like we're building this and this and this. You know, it's like that. So basically we all need to master presentation skills at one point.
Yeah.
And teamwork also, because, you know, like me personally, I've had a lot of bad experiences working with, you know, they call it sleeping buddies, or yeah, that's the term lah that we use in UiTM back in, you know, Shah Alam, or sleeping partners. Yeah, that's the word for it. So basically like parasites lah, like, you know, they don't do the work, so we end up doing most of the work. So it's really important for you to choose your teams wisely. So while you're in college, you're allowed the freedom to do that. So enjoy that, enjoy your freedom, enjoy your right to choose. But once you enter the workforce, you may be forced to work with people you don't like. So so you know, in a counterintuitive suggestion, I would say, work with people you don't like, or people that you don't normally, partner with, instead of just partnering with your friends. So if you're too comfortable working with your friends all the time, then maybe you're not prepared for working with people that you don't disagree, that you don't agree with, or that you don't really like them. So yeah, just think about that the next time you're trying to partner up with for an assignment. Okay, so for accountability, so basically, college for me is like a trial period for adulthood. Like, you're away from your parents, but like not really, like, like people are still taking care of you, sort of,
Yeah,
like you
yeah,
don't
yeah,
really
yeah.
pay rent, like you don't really pay for food that much. And then you still like balik kampung, like semester break, mid semester break. But once you're an adult and you have to like relocate to KL, say you live in like Kedah or something, or Perak, and there's not much work opportunities there, then you have to move to the big city, the New York of Malaysia.
Yeah, yeah.
So you can't like go back every week unless unless you tahan lah, like you can like drive 4 hours over the weekend,
Yeah,
then
yeah, yeah, yeah.
back. If you're that kind of person, then fine. But like for most of us, like we only will be able to meet our family, like maybe once a year for Raya, maybe, if if our annual leave. So this leads me back to my first point, trust me. So accountability means your trial period of adulthood, you have to be responsible for everything in your life. What time you wake up, your assignments getting done on time, your laundry, your keeping your room clean, basically everything. It's not just about your academics, your time management, your grades, your assignments, your friendships, your relationships, for those of you who have like a boyfriend or a girlfriend. So these are, you're juggling multiple responsibilities, and this is such an important skill to master in the workplace, because if you want to move up the corporate ladder, if you want a promotion, okay, this is like basic knowledge that I think everyone knows, but just to like say it now. When you enter the workforce, like if you want a promotion and a pay raise, they're not just going to give you a promotion and a pay raise, they're going to give you more responsibilities. And that means more, I don't know, like it depends on your KPI, your key performance index or something. So like say you have to work on, like if you're an engineer lah, for instance, like you have to you're usually like an executive or something, but now you're in mid management, which means you have to manage 3 different projects at the same time, not just one. So that's kira like 3 different buildings lah, like you have to like design for or something. Like I don't know how engineering works, but like that's basically it. So think about it in a sense that you have so many more responsibilities. And I think one of our earlier panelists guests mentioned something about this, about work-life balance, and about do you really want the promotion, like if, not to say that, oh, you have to be like tip-top perfectionist all the time, but if your mental health is to the point where you can't take this anymore, then maybe the promotion is just not
For
it's
you.
not worth it. Yeah. So that's the thing about accountability lah. Like most of us have different levels of different levels of accountability, I guess, because some of us like macam, I can only clean my room this week and like eat healthy the next week. Like you can't really juggle a lot of things at the same time. So yeah, that also depends on you, not just about like what other people want or expect from you. So the last one is independence and self-sufficiency. So if most of you know, most of you are, I hope lah, most of you are college kids who have the academic experience of being of being a student. So most of the time, especially like during solo assignments and even during group assignments, where you may not have you may not have active group members, you end up have to work alone. And oftentimes lecturers won't always be there to help you, or sometimes they don't even care, because they're like, you pandai-pandai lah, you buat sendiri. Okay, I jenis bagi markah B je, macam tu. Kalau you teruk pun, bagi markah B, but still you want that A, because you want to graduate with honors lah, you want dean's list kan. So you have to work hard, but the problem is no one's help you. No one's going to help you. So you end up using Google or YouTube. So it's the same in the workforce. Like most of the time, your supervisors are terrible people, incompetent, memang tak ada hati buat kerja. Literally, like you will work in places where people who are supposed to lead you, your leaders, are terrible people. Like they just pandai cakap je. So end up you have to do most of the work. So take the time to really learn the skills of research. Like it's not just Google tau. It's like, you know, most people now say that TikTok is like better than Google when you're trying to find information, which is crazy to me because sometimes it's true when you're trying to find like, okay, celebrity, which celebrity is like, you know, hot right now or something like that, I guess. And with the rise of social media and the rise of all these, you know, virtual marketing and digital marketing, like TikTok is like becoming more and more important for like basically anything. So when you're trying to like do research, say if you work in media lah, like you have to find trending topics. So like you have to learn how to use TikTok. Like, you know, that's part of the research. It's not just scrolling and like, you know, watching cat videos all the time. So use the research skills that you learn, or rather develop research skills you learn during your time as a student, so you can do better research while you're in the workforce. Okay. Next. Okay, so this is the other question that you wanted to ask me.
It's
The
basically
importance
the
of
other
the
question.
English.
Yeah.
So I'll just answer it now. So I grew up in an English speaking home, so there was never really a problem with this. So I was very fortunate. So those of you who can speak English well, just consider yourself very fortunate to have parents who cared enough to teach you English, because at one point in your life, like say you're a teenager, it becomes really hard to acquire the language. You boleh lah pandai-pandai sikit, but you macam pelat, or like you're not really that fluent. Yeah. So I mean, if you're in college and you still don't really master English, I think at this point, not to say that there's no hope for you. I feel like you can still read books, watch movies. One thing that really helped me, even like when I was in a kindergarten, like my mom, she was a kindergarten teacher, so it's like I lucked out, I guess, because, you know, she was a teacher and she was teaching me English. Like it's like having free tuition at home. So like one thing she liked doing was this magic box trick. Basically like you write down like words you don't recognize, and then you put them in the box, and then later you look in the dictionary to find out what it means. So this is a good way to expand your vocabulary. Yeah, so that's like a children's lah. That's how children do it. But as an adult, you can just like, if you're reading a book, say if you're trying to improve your English, if you're watching a movie, watching a film, anything. I think everyone watches English films, like American films, Marvel, semua is like everyone, orang Melayu semua tengok cerita Marvel kan. So try not to turn on the subtitles. Try to turn on the English subtitles, and then any word that you don't understand, you like use your phone, like you use your phone and you just like type it in your notepad or something, like words that you don't recognize. And that is a good way to learn new things. So next time, even if you won't be using that word in everyday life, next time you you find it in like a book or like in a report or something, like, you know, when you're using it for work, then you immediately recognize what it means. So you save time, and, you know, if it's like on the spot, like someone says ni apa, and then you're like, oh my god, what does this word mean? Yeah, you know, if you already know the word, then you know how to reply. So it's more of a convenience thing more than anything. So back to the slide. Sorry, I took off a trajectory there. So so the importance of English language is expand your means of communication. So when you have English, especially if you're working in like an international company, you'll be working with a lot of, maybe not just Indian and Chinese, or, you know, other ethnic groups who prefer talking in English, but maybe even, you know, like Western countries, European countries, even other Asian countries who use English as their medium. So when you master English, you will be able to put yourself out there. So it means that your boss will trust you lah to deal with this client because your English is good, instead of finding someone to translate or something, like, sorry, you tak boleh speak English, so I can't give you this client, stuff like that. So if you have good English, even like basic English, like your boss will trust you to take on an international client or a client who prefer to speak in English lah, because even some Malay CEOs prefer talking in English because they were raised overseas or something like that. So yeah, it really expands your method of communication, not just through Malay but through English. So the second one is people take you seriously. So one thing about Malaysia is that there is still a lot of respect for the language, and people, I know there's a lot of respect, but also a lot of annoyance at people who can speak English, because even now I still get people telling me that I like, oh, dia ni cakap mak saleh je, stuff like that. But I don't really mind, because it's part of the package. People will judge you, especially in college, especially if you're really good in English. People will really judge you because alah, dia ni pandai cakap English. But like when you're in the workplace, people really respect you. Okay, people will really take notice of your English language skills, and it will stop being like this school playground type of deal. People will respect you. So don't discourage yourself by just speaking Malay to fit in. Work on your English, use it every day, and it will be useful in your work, in your workplace. Okay, so learning becomes easier. So again, when it's very rare to find courses these days where it's mostly in Malay. There are a few, but most of them will be done through English medium, especially if you're like looking through online courses, those free online courses. So most of them will be in English. And if you're working in like, I don't know, software or something, it's very rare to find a Malay book lah on like software.
Yeah.
So when you're learning, when your English is tip-top, not even tip-top lah, like competent lah, so you can at least understand, even if you can't speak well, you can understand what the moderator or the expert is talking about. So again, it expands your opportunities, especially if you're looking to get promoted, or if not promoted, then maybe move on to a different industry or a branch in your industry. So when you have English, it means that you can learn more, and if you're learning more, you're taking courses, you're getting accreditation, you're getting certificates, which means there's more opportunity for you. Okay, next slide. Is there more? Okay, so this is just my final words lah. Final words of wisdom. So it's also part of your question, Haikal. So
yes.
So my advice for all, not just UiTM students, but any other college students or fresh graduates who are currently watching this YouTube live. So start preparing your portfolio. So I'm a writer. So this is easy for me because I can just like write a blog or something and like post it on somewhere, and it's my portfolio done. But like if an artist, when you're an artist, like you can like do something on Photoshop or like on Procreate, or like even like physical art media. So you can just post it online. Everything is online these days, even portfolios. I remember the time when people would carry those like big like briefcases full of like their sketches and like their references and stuff. So now everything is digital. You can like, here's my card. The other day I was like surprised that people even have like QR codes, or when they go networking, when they go to events and they meet like potential
wow,
they go to like event, like networking event with like potential employers. They can like, here's my resume, here's my portfolio, and they just scan each other's phones or like a QR, and the person already has their portfolio, so you don't have to bring your briefcase.
I might consider doing that in the future. I might consider doing that.
I feel like a boomer right now because like Gen Z probably knows about this already, So it's amazing. So, but for those of you who work in like, I don't know, engineering, do you have a portfolio?
Oh
Can
yeah,
you
we do,
build
we
a
do, we do.
portfolio? Okay, so yeah, so it's fine. Like, I don't know about like if you're like in culinary, I'm not sure how you make a portfolio for that, unless you know if you join like cooking competitions and you win like first prize or something like that. I guess that could be part of your portfolio. What else? I'm not sure about any other courses. So any courses that is possible for you to start a portfolio, then brush up while you're in college. Even if it's just weekend, you go to event and you participate in something. So the second one is network. So network is also the same lah as going to events, even on LinkedIn. Although I feel like LinkedIn is very limited because people are looking for employees, and while you're in college, you can't really apply for work. But any if you're interested in working in a company, network with the people who work there, and maybe they see what you're doing, they see your talent. You can post about your achievements, your awards. If you get dean's list, like post it on LinkedIn, and the people who work at the company will see it. Maybe they can recommend you to their bosses. That's how these things work.
Mm-hmm.
Another tip is, I think, follow the HR, follow the HR of that company, and like communicate with them. Like, I don't know how that works. I haven't tried it yet, because it feels a bit macam desperate lah kalau you want to try to follow the HR kan. So yeah, just try those things out if you want to network. Okay, the third one is have a 5-year plan. So regardless of where you are in your studies, your first semester ke, second semester ke, third semester, or even if you're like dah nak graduate, you're like senior, so have a 5-year plan. So like not just what work you'll be doing, but like what your finances, your health, your relationships, your even things like the house you want to live in, or any pets or children you wanna you wanna adopt or have. So these things will help you plan your finances and stuff like that, because like it or not, our economy is not doing so well right now. Hopefully it gets better, but with things like I feel like we're all like in the like prologue of like the Hunger Games or something, like macam
Yeah.
sekejap je like everything is gonna blow up or something. But try to be optimistic. We may not have 5 years, who knows. So just be optimistic, have a 5-year plan. Plan your finances, and if you can't plan for 5 years, plan for at least 1 year lah. Plan what kind of companies you want to work with. If, actually not even that far, you can plan what internship you want to work with. What company you want to work with during your internship. So you can actually start making your list now, unlike me who like waited for like sem 5 baru nak sibuk cari company nak nak pergi internship. So yeah, look for opportunities on the internet. They're everywhere. Okay, so finally, polish your CV. This should actually be the first one. Sorry. So your CV is like basically it's like your DP, your display picture of your WhatsApp or your Facebook or your Instagram. It tells the employer everything they need to know about you. So I think most of you know by now, most of you who are on TikTok at least, if you're on the right side of TikTok lah, there's a tip where you know how to design your resume so that it actually goes through the scan or something like that. I'm not sure if Malaysia does that or if we manually have to look through the resumes one by one. So, but regardless, just to be safe, follow like the simple template that you see on, on TikTok lah. Like I feel like TikTok has a lot of good advice. Like don't use colors, don't put your face, don't put your age, don't put your birth date, don't do those things. Like just your name, your website, your email, your phone number. Don't put your face, guys. Please don't put your face. Don't put your age. Malaysia is so racist satu. Okay, Malaysia is so racist. Malaysia is so ageist. Kalau dia nampak you tua je, dia tak nak. Okay, and then they are like, kalau nampak macam hodoh je, tak nak. Okay, so like, okay, like cards on the table lah, like not just Malaysia lah, the world lah. There's this thing called pretty privilege, or beauty bias, they call it. So kalau you tak handsome, kalau you tak cantik, kalau you tak putih, kalau you tak kurus, kalau you tak muda, semua ni you will immediately have lower your chances. Not to say you takkan dapat langsung kerja tu, okay? But they will, if there is someone as equally as talented as you, but prettier, more handsome, they will take that person over you. So that's why you should never put your picture. Sampai interview je. So sampai interview, you have to wow them with your during the interview. Kalau interview juga, they will see your face lah. So dah habis lah. So no chance lah. But at least if you don't put your picture in your resume, you will already have one foot in the door. Instead of like orang kata hodoh tak nak. Okay? So that's why you should never put your picture in your CV. Unless you wanna. No, but I've been warned lah before that this person dia kata sebab dia muka dia banyak jerawat tau. So he's been denied so many work experiences until he stopped putting his picture. So this is a close friend lah back in college.
Wow.
So,
okay.
Yeah. So that's like almost close experience of pretty privilege. So yeah. So don't put your picture in your resume unless you want to be a model or an actress. Then yeah, of course lah, you have to put your picture kan. So that that industry memang pretty privileged. It's like pretty privileged, like stamped on the industry. So yeah, guess that doesn't matter lah. So I think that's all from me. Ada lagi tak? Ada tak ada?
Yeah. Your TED Talk. I mean, to be fair, it was pretty much your TED Talk. I was like, technically, you were like explaining a lot of things all at once.
Yeah, I feel like people like gloss over a lot of like bad things about the corporate world, like the workforce. Like it's bad, guys. Like it's not just about like shitty bosses and like bad leaders and like terrible pay. It's not just that. It's the whole concept of capitalism. Like people like working hard, people like working you really hard just to get more money for themselves. Like that is like what have we become? Like people really. Let me tell you guys one thing. If you take anything from this lah, we do not have to work this hard tau. Like literally, like people working like 40 plus hours a week. This is actually nonsense actually. If you look at Sweden, I think somewhere one of those paradise cities,
Scandinavian countries basically.
Countries, in Europe and in this Scandinavia part of the world. Diorang kan, they make like 4-5K. Even the cleaners live in like bungalow. Okay, they are richest company, resources pun tak banyak, but somehow they are wealthy, they are happy, they have the least amount of gun violence, suicide, murder, apa semua. They don't have those things, and it's free education, free healthcare. Like Malaysia ni, okay, Malaysia one thing lah, really malu because we have a lot of resources. But Sweden pun, like, I don't know what resources they have, but they don't have much. But they somehow able to make their country a paradise. Bayangkan. So like, and people don't work hard there, okay? People like, they work lah, but they don't work hard sampai kita ni yang nak kena ambil overtime, nak kena pergi grab weekend, nak kena part time tu, hustle culture ni, hustle grind culture tu, side business lah, side hustle lah, investment lah. You have to think about this so that we can change, so that the next generation of business owners, us, we, okay, boomers, your parents, grandparents punya culture, we have to throw that away. So those of you who are interested in making a business, okay, listen, please end this hustle grind culture nonsense where you have to work 40 hours a week. Okay, we are entering the 4-day work week. Okay, we have to make that happen. Okay, that's all from me. Sorry, I'm ranting. Sorry, I have to like bring out like my crazy uncle personality, but this is the truth, guys. Yeah.
So wait, is the 1955 Act coming in place? Oh,
you mean the 4-day work week?
Is it coming to Malaysia?
I'm not sure. I think they allow it, but it's not compulsory or something.
Right.
Don't be afraid for anyone attending to sound off in the comments if I'm like. talking nonsense. But yeah, I think that's it. People can implement the 4-hour work week. I mean the 4-day work week, but it's not compulsory lah.
It's not compulsory, right? I mean, we are living in a democracy, so like, feel free to share your opinions and share your thoughts in the comments down below. But honestly, Zach, I mean,
Yeah.
pretty interesting insight. Because I mean, like,
Yeah.
a lot of young
Sorry.
Malaysians
Yeah, yeah.
are. Oh, sorry. So like, a lot of young Malaysians are definitely hustling a lot. You know, like after they have finished graduation, they're gonna have to do like some side gigs. They have to go from the gig economy, a lot of stuff. You know. Yeah. So
Yeah, sorry if any of you disagree with me. I'm sure many of you will disagree with me. Many of you maybe enjoy the hustle culture life, but just to in order to create change, like we have to be in this together lah.
Yeah. I mean, of course, change. If we want to look at change in terms of how we work and how we live, I think it comes from the bottom up. You know, like us, we as those who are from
Democracy.
yeah, democracy. Like those who are um in society have to push for change, and then those who are in policy makers, they have to create some change as well. They have to do some policies to ensure that these things can work better in businesses. And I mean, it ties a lot of things, like a lot of things are like engineers and then health workers, all that stuff.
Yeah. One thing I want to sound off again. I know I'm being so annoying right now. People are probably like clicking away, tinggal like just literally just one person, and it's you and me. So, if anyone else is listening, like another thing I want to talk about is workplace boundaries. Like, first of all, like once you get a job, you are not obligated to stay back. Most of the time people will set meetings sampai like, okay, say if you have to leave at 5, they will like set a meeting at 6 because they are terrible at time management. They can't even set a meeting within your working hours. Like, don't be afraid to tell people like, I can't attend this meeting because this is outside of my office hours. As when you do that, people stop taking advantage of you now. Like they don't keep doing that to you. They don't step on your head. Another thing is that don't go out for company events unless you have to. Usually like people will like, oh, jom pergi minum, or like regardless lah what race you are, they will like go to the pub or like the bar, or like just mama in general. Don't go. Don't socialize with people who can use things against you. Like, yeah, we like to think that, oh, everyone's our friend, like, oh, the company is a family. Most of the time there will be people who are jealous of you, who don't like you, for absolutely no reason sometimes. And they will try to bring you down. And even even if that means gossiping about you to their boss, who will then tell their bosses, who will ruin your reputation in the company. So it's not even about like you being drunk at the bar, with them. It's about what you say, even personal stories, or like your parents, your siblings. Don't talk about those things to your work friends or colleagues. And put your social media accounts in like private, even your LinkedIn. Like, don't let people in your workplace see what you do online. And and if your boss asks you, like, we need to see your social media, what's your social media, tell them, oh, I don't have social media. Do not give them your social media, guys. Not even if they say you will not get this job unless you give me your social media. Do not do that. They will literally ruin your life. They will like hold you hostage or do some weird shit lah. Like, sorry, I'm cursing, but like, don't, just keep your personal life and your business separate. That's all I have to say.
Yeah. Because I think at the end of the day, like, I think it's really hard if you integrate personal things into your work life. I think it does cause a lot of problems, right? Cause a lot of chaos. I feel like, I mean, this is so capitalistic of me as well. Like, when it's work, just work. When
Yeah.
when you have life, personal life, we keep it that way. Yeah. I mean, that's for me because I think that's more efficient. We don't cause too much problems, like miscommunications or problems. That you just focus on the work. Yeah, because at the end of the day, if personal things are holding you back, then I think it's hard for the company to move forward in a better direction.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean,
there's
I guess.
there's a way for you to be loyal to a company. It's not to say that, oh, I work for this company just for the money. There's a way for you to show your contribution to help the company grow without sacrificing your life.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, this is coming from somebody who has insights, who is working in a corporate level, and and the life it has, been. But I don't know. Maybe now when you think about it, maybe there should be some changes in how the work environment is,
Yeah.
so everybody's conducive, is having fun. Well, to the very least, mitigate the amount of jealousy or amount of miscommunications that happens between
Yeah.
coworkers. Yeah, but Zach, I mean, okay, I'm so surprised. It's just like I'm looking at the the year, like the amount of people who are in. There's 68 people now. People like
Wow.
like
Okay.
here.
I'm surprised they didn't click away from my controversial take, but thanks guys for staying.
Oh no, it's 71. I think you need to give more controversial statement. But okay, but kidding. We don't want to have any backlash coming from here. But
Yeah.
maybe I don't know. Maybe controversial topics should be discussed
Yeah.
more in universities. Yeah, right. Now it's around 5:15, right? I think, and then we have talked about a lot of things already so far throughout this entire session, right? So, without further ado, I think first of all, thank you, Zack Shah, for coming on the show. It was really fun, having
My
you
pleasure.
to discuss a lot of things with you, and you as well as your personal experiences coming from you as well.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Haikal, for inviting me. Thank you to UiTM for inviting me. I guess I haven't been to UiTM Penang yet, but I guess we're all a big family, kan? So
Yeah,
yeah,
true.
yeah. Okay.
Mhm. Yeah, definitely. But thank you, Zaza, for coming. I mean, we're open to have any collaborations with you in the future if we wanna do stuff together in UiTM
Of
Penang.
course.
Definitely. Right. Once again, thank you, Zaksa, for coming, and we hope to see you in the future.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for coming,
Bye.
and all the best in your studies. And don't forget to buy my book.
Yes.
Okay.
Definitely buy his book.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, everyone. Bye bye.
Bye.
Thank you, Haikal.
No problem. Right. So thank you all for coming to watch the entire Youth Coverage Program 2023. We are really excited that we did this all together, and I'm happy that a lot of you stayed till the very end. Now we have like 73 followers, maybe because they're waiting for the activity in some sense. But anyway, I'm happy that we've ended on a high note, and thank you for all the speakers that came in. They gave in a lot of interesting insights in the industry, and we can see some trends from the speeches that they give as well, right? And yeah, if you want some more of these events, do comment down below, give a like, and do support the English Language Club on our Instagram page at UiTMCPP. Wait, hold on. At the English Language Club UiTMCPP. Yeah. Right. That's all from me. And do remember to scan the QR code. Oh, all right. Okay. All right. Anyways, that's all from me. I'll give it back to Alia.
Okay, that's all for our youth convention program. And also, as Heka was about to mention just now, the QR code for e-activity. Also, we also have the QR for feedback. So who knows if one day we are going to make this an annual thing or a monthly thing. We really need your feedback. It will be very appreciated. And thank you to our guests. Thank you to the people who tuned in to watch until the very end. And that's all from us. Assalamualaikum and have a good day.